Greetings, Battle Brothers. It's me, Aurelia Tempris, Defender of the Golden Throne and Servant of Humanity. Welcome in, everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful day. You guys get to see me sooner than you normally do. I just saw you on Sunday and it's Tuesday. What's with that? What's with that? But we're hanging out today. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. I like the armor. Thank you. Thank you. And Sugiku, good to see you. And who else did I see? Sal, yes. Or the Emperor. Or Clell. It might be Clell. And Death Vaughn, thank you for the tier 1. I appreciate it, man. And Hayes Colts also for the Emperor as well. Yes, indeed. Are we gonna burn heretics today? No, I did that yesterday. That's what's on my schedule. I did that yesterday. I'm gonna do that tomorrow and Thursday and Sunday. I've already got that taken care of. Purge some? Perhaps we will purge them. Perhaps this. Now I can see the YouTube better. There we go. Hi, YouTube. Good to see you. This is a reminder that Aurelia is also sleep deprived as she fell asleep late at night again on a school night. And I'm an adult. I'm an adult. I don't go to school anymore. Jedi Master, we have some stuff we are going to be watching today that is related to your question. I promise, I promise. No, it's glory to the Man Emperor of mankind. Man Emperor. I'm here to listen while I paint for a Discord competition. Ooh, fun. I hope you win. I hope you win. What are you painting? Sleep is for the weak, and I am weak sometimes. Heresy. Okay, sorry, I had to get it out of my system. Wait, what is heresy? Tell me, I'll kill it. Whatever it is, whatever's heretical, I got it. Don't worry, where is the heresy? Saw a short on YouTube of the Angel of Baal being your husband. Came to pay respects to the Gene Father's betrothed. Good to see you, Kaiser. Welcome in, welcome in. I like it when that's like people's first message, like, so I heard you're married to Sanguinius. Hello. I came to see, I came to check it out. It makes me laugh. Let me get my water. We'll start here in a sec. I have a story. I finally caught a stream. Good to see you, Deathclaw. All right, here's a story. It was actually happened today. I was at the grocery store and I'm just minding my own business, doing my shopping. And I walk past this guy, like we're walking in opposite directions. And, well, hang on. Let me start over. I'm at the grocery store, minding my own business. I am walking down an aisle and there is one of the employees is like restocking like water bottles or something. So it's like kind of heavy. He's like bending, grabbing things, picking it up, whatever. I walk by, you know, I stay out of his way. And then there's another guy that is entering the aisle as I'm kind of leaving it. And as he walks down the aisle, it was probably about 10-15 seconds after like I walked by and I hear like the cat call whistle. Now, you guys know which one I'm talking about, the I don't know if you guys heard that, but that whistle, and I was like, there's no way. I was like looking straight forward. I like didn't turn back because I was like, I don't know if that was me. Like is that directed at me? What the heck? And so like I walked for a little bit. And then after probably about another like 5-10 seconds, I like turn and look back. He's friends with the employee that was loading the shelves. He catcalled him. And I was like, oh, thank goodness. It was so funny though. I like couldn't laugh to like let them know that I'd seen it, but I thought it was so funny. I was like, yeah, look, they're the ultimate bros, right? Yeah, right? I thought that was funny. I was like, dang. Yeah, the flamers were already aimed, but don't worry, guys. No, he's fine. He's good. Yeah, cat call your bros now. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm not even mad about it. I'm not even mad. I was surprised. Like, I think I've only been catcalled once in my life. I was in high school too, so a little sus. Like, okay, I think I was like almost like 18. It's like the point where you can like barely tell. And like the people that catcalled me, they were like in a car across the street. So I don't even think they could tell because they were so far away. Oh. So yeah, that was the story I wanted to tell you guys today because it was just wild. Yeah, catcall your bros. You just gotta do it. Have you seen the orc video explaining the blood angels? Oh, PK, thank you for the super chat. I saw that video. It actually got recommended to me, but it just got released today, so I don't want to watch it just yet. Because I saw it and I was like, oh, that looks so good. And then I was like, oh no, it like came out a couple hours ago. I probably shouldn't watch it tonight. I'll probably save it for next week. So... Wait, wouldn't what be gay? What's gay? I'm very... Oh, you're saying why they catcalled me? Like from across the street? I don't know. Just they just do it because they can. I really didn't give it any thought. Except I was like, if only they knew, they'd get in so much trouble. Which catcalling doesn't get you arrested. Catcalling your bro? No, no, no. It's not gay if you're wearing socks. And they were both wearing socks. This is important to know. Oh, Crimson Seraph, good to see you. Thank you for the bits. Good evening, Lady Aurelia, Battle Brothers and Sisters. I just finished 4.5 miles. Ooh, walk or a run? Now I get to finish the night with my... Oh, how? I don't know what that means. And Space Marine 2. Have fun. I hope you have a good time. Thank you for the bits. Wait, the UK made that a crime? To catcall? What? Huh? That's a crime? Why? Hang on. Why? Why is that a crime? That's just words. I mean, unless you're saying something like threatening, which catcalling isn't generally threatening, unless you're doing it wrong if you're threatening the person you're catcalling. What I just log into? Well, a story where someone at the grocery store, I thought catcalled me, but they were catcalling their homie who like was an employee at the store. It was funny. And so then someone said that apparently it is a crime to catcall anyone in the UK. Can't confirm in the UK calling a homie at work Pookie or a pet name is enough in some place to go to HR. Even if it's like your bros and you're like homies, not like you're calling a random chick. No, this is important. This is important. We're not... Don't sidetrack me. This is... Yes, I am a real Warhammer VTuber. And we're talking about catcalling for some reason. What? We'll get off this here in a second. I usually don't touch the politics. I'm just surprised. What a bad day to have eyes. What a bad day to have eyes. Okay, my mods have informed me that catcalling is a crime in the UK as it is seen as sexual harassment. It... I don't know about that. Like, I guess it depends on what's said. Like, I'm sorry, if like I'm rolling down the street and I'm in my car and I say, "Hey baby, you looking good." Like that's okay, that's not the same thing as like saying something vulgar. Like that's like messed up. Like I don't think people should do that, but like crime? It's against the law to watch TV without a license. I feel like you're pulling my leg on that one. Because I know the joke. You got a license for that knife? I know that one. What time do you normally stream at? I have all my streams listed in Pacific time. Yeah, it's early for you. Hang on. Sorry, I see that there are bits. My bad, guys. 1 second. I meant to say Oshi. Oh, no worries, Crimson Seraph. You're all good. And then the Labor Party is so progressive they come right back around to be more. All right. Maybe we should change the subject. I don't know anything about UK politics. I can't speak on it. Thank you for the bits. What am I supposed to do if my cat is in a tree and I need them to climb down? Oh, I was like, what? I was confused. Thank you for PK. Thank you for the super chat. I finally made it to a stream. Wait, Dante, no, Mother. Dante's trying to jump out a 24-story window again. Don't worry, he's got his jump pack. He'll be fine. Thank you, Trey, for the super chat. Yeah, that's yeah, sorry guys. I didn't know that. I think it's silly. What if my homie is in a tree and I need to call him? Well, then you should do that. And then the police are gonna come and arrest you later. That's wild, man. Okay. What a time. What a time to be alive. That puts a whole lot of other things into perspective. Okay. If it's your homie, just cut the tree down. Well, what if it's an endangered tree? You gotta talk to the HOA before you cut down that tree. I hope you had a good day too, Tidonis. I hope you had a good time. Okay. All right. We should probably just, I don't know what else to say. We're just going to transition to, we're not going to talk about it anymore, guys. We're transitioning. We're going to watch videos now. I didn't mean to get into it. I didn't realize that things were stupid. This is why America's great. Why America's great. I can catcall whoever I want, and I'm not going to get arrested as long as I don't say anything too bad. Yes. Segue to funny internet videos. We've got some trailers. We've got some memes. We've got a bunch of other stuff that I thought was interesting. I put woman in the thumbnail, so we were gonna look at some women. As a segue from our last conversation, should we watch this very short video called "The Average Slanesh Worshipper"? I feel like it's fitting. Women, yeah, women. Memes? Is it Boris? We already watched Boris. And Starman, thank you for the super chat. Maybe rephrase what you said. The UK is so small. It's really funny. They're like, oh, I don't want to drive far. We're like, oh, how far is the drive? And it's like 40 minutes. I'm like, dude, depending on where you live, your commute could be more than that. Like your commute to work. Wild. wild to me. So we're gonna watch this Lanesh one because I like these.
It's not important.
Scared me. I like these. They're silly and stupid. All right. Oh, let me move the button. I gotta turn off my redeems. Okay. Danny DeVito. Yeah, what's he doing here? What is he? He's my Thousand Sons guy. He's got glasses like a freaking nerd. So I guess it makes sense.
It's not important. It's important to me, Frank. And I know that what's important to you is money and power, but I don't want real power. Because with real power comes real responsibility, and I don't want any of that shit. I just want the money and the illusion of power.
Oh.
Puss.
What?
Hell, I don't.
Yeah.
I did not watch this in advance. That was probably a bad idea.
I don't know, man.
What? Tell me. Tell me.
I need something. I mean, I got this giant gaping hole inside me.
Oh.
So are you saying he needs it to be filled?
I'm always trying to fill it with something. I like to call it my my God hole.
I was right.
And I think a lot of people in this world they fill it with religion. But I don't believe in God.
Oh,
You want to
actually.
fill a pussy.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't know. Sorry if you had kids here. I did not know that video had that. I was just like, oh, it's Lanesh, whatever. Hee, it'll be funny. Yeah, the sprayed bottle is deserved. Thank you, Conrad, for the super chat. Crimson Seraph, thank you so much for the 50 gift subs. Man, please take care of yourself. You've been very generous as of late. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. If you just got a gift sub from Crimson Seraph, like, please say thanks. I hope your Space Marine 2 run is going well. Holy moly, thank you, man. Bro. And Conrad, thank you for the super chat. Dante, about to give a huge speech in front of a crowd. Aurelia runs up with a rag. You have a smudge on your mask, sweetie. Mom, you're embarrassing me. That sounds about right. Although I feel like I would know when there's like a moment to do that and a moment to like not. And Dino Fan, thank you for gifting a sub. And Shadow for gifting a sub as well. Dude, thank you so much, Crimson Seraph. That was really, really, really generous of you. I'm trying to see if you sent any messages since... Have I seen Cronin the Cunning by Voldemort? No, I don't think so. But I do want to watch more of his videos. I do want to watch more. Okay. Okay. Been a while since I got caught up on stream. Did you get a new mic recently? No. Does it sound bad? I just got my tax return, and since I don't spend a lot, I decided it's time for a tithe. Oh, thank you so much. You should totally like save or invest that. You should invest your tax return. But thank you, I appreciate it. And Red Tail Wolf, thank you for the gift sub as well. Maybe it's my ears. I mean, does my audio sound weird? I was actually really annoyed because I realized like 2 weeks ago the audio for my mic was like messed up. I was listening to clips and I was like, what is this noise? It was my microphone. Is modding Space Marine 2 heresy? No. No. He invested it in your followers. I mean, yes, he did. Diversify your portfolio. Invest in the Aurelia fund, not legal advice. Yeah, remember, there's no Aurelia coin. If you see anything, any Bitcoin that's Aurelia coin, Tempris Exilia coin, anything like that, I'm not affiliated with it, so don't invest. Very crisp, Mike, thank you. Maybe a little louder. Oh yeah, I didn't do anything differently since Sunday, at least. No, there's no Skitter coin either. I'm not affiliated. Oh yeah, a challenge coin would be cool, but I got 6 gold Aurelia coins? Where'd you get those? Where'd you get those? Anyways, this is the new gameplay for Total War Warhammer 40k. People are asking me about it, so we're gonna watch it. What? I don't know about y'all, but I don't like the custodians, to be honest. They're always so cold, even colder than the Carcharodons. But hey, I can't say no to their orders. I mean, you can't. I mean, I think it's just because they're like focused. They know who they need to listen to, and they're not gonna let anyone tell them otherwise. They're so loyal. They may appear cold, but sometimes they're doing things that are like in the best interest of humanity. My opinion. All right. Gameplay footage. Let's watch it.
There is no peace amongst the stars. There is only war.
This is facts.
Total War Warhammer 40,000 is really like a marriage of IPs made in heaven. We create authentic works.
Oh, this looks so cool.
And we have a really precious IP currently that we are working with, which I know lots of you, just like us, we really love. We read a lot of books, played games, painted minis. We want to insert you in that authentic universe.
Oh, this is cool. Okay, don't ask me about the UI. Some people are gonna complain about it because they're total war like geeks. They've got it. But I'm looking at the maps.
Games, painted minis. We want to.
Oh, that's so neat. And it looks like you can go behind the sandbag. So that'll be interesting because that means your lines are set for you, unlike other Total Wars where it's kind of like open field.
Insert you in that authentic universe.
Yeah, like look at that. That's cool.
The galaxy is an unforgiving place. Everyone is fighting. There is no option to stop because, you know, the world will eat you alive. But you as a player, you will make the difference. And what's really unique about Total War is you can experience that whole universe, from the galaxy running an entire faction across the stars to the soldier fighting on the
Oh, it's gonna be so cool.
Ground, just clinging to life, try to survive another day. It's literally like being that armchair general who is like, I'm at the command of West forces doing big flanking
It is the Bane Blade!
maneuvers, doing the smart moves like jumping over, like covering
man,
big
that's
spaces,
so...
especially with the jump.
Dude, that looks so cool!
Sort of dropping bombardment of the enemy, and that's what's unique about it, is the scale, both the horizontal and the verticality of it.
Yeah, the vertical. Oh.
It's a big, vast franchise, a massive setting that's been around since the 80s, but luckily we don't expect players to know everything. We don't even want them to know everything. We have a brilliant onboarding experience. It's a very story-driven set of campaigns, and there was only one iconic location to start.
Yes, it is Armageddon, the quintessential place that represents the fight between humanity.
Okay, is it just me, or am I the only one who's like kind of fed up with them still using Armageddon? Like, I feel like it's a bit overused. I feel like there's a point where it's a bit overdone. I know they're tying everything into 11th edition, so I get it, but I don't know, I'm like, oh, again? Like, can we, like, have another world that kind of sucks? I know it's the start of 11th, but still. Okay, cool, yeah, I'm glad I'm not the only one. And I just wish they picked another planet, like... They're gonna run out of ground to blow up eventually. They've got a whole galaxy, man. A whole galaxy. Except they're like, well, like Armageddon is like really specific because there's already like a feud going on. And I mean, feud is probably, that's not the right word for it. But, ow, hit my elbow. Whatever.
And orcs, they're like larger than life characters. Like one of my favorite ones is Yarick, who, yes, we will have in the game.
Well, don't forget his arch rivals there too. We have Ghazghkull Fracker, the prophet of the War.
Oh, this game is gonna be so cool. He looks sick.
Himself.
Yep.
But it's that journey that's going to be the interesting one.
Yeah, it's a path to Armageddon, yeah. The stakes are galactic, so you're going through between systems to systems, where the end goal, at least for the Orc and the Imperium, is definitely Armageddon.
And Armageddon's certainly not where we're stopping. It's just the start.
We're looking at all of the details of the different world types that are present in Warhammer 40,000. So we've got hive worlds, agro worlds, mining worlds, frontier worlds. And layered on top of that, we also have all of the different biomes. So we...
Oh, okay, I see what they're doing here.
You know, we can have icy mining worlds, arid mining worlds. Ultimately, what we've done is we have created a planet-making system. There's two things we want to do with the hive worlds. One, we want to make sure that the planets themselves look like hive worlds, so that we have huge cathedral, very much like we're in a cathedral here, cathedral-like cities stretching into the sky, going through the clouds, and whole planet's surface covered in urban development. And then we want to make sure that the battlefields match the visuals on the planet.
Yes, they have to.
One of the challenges, of course, there is like the staggering sort of architecture and scale and verticality, and then try and pull that into like a really engaging gameplay space. The sheer volume of potential lanes and routes.
Building zones, traversable lanes, cover zones.
We have some maps where your focus will be on sort of like navigating through these choke points and blasting apart areas to get a bit more sort of room to maneuver, or, you know, bring down a building on someone that's trucking along past. But then there's actually some pretty significant open spaces within them, you know, like gigantic landing pads, and sort of, you know, the scale is so utterly off the chart.
This looks so sick.
Total War's always been a game about scale, right? You're from the bird's eye view above your empire down to the individual battlefields that decide its fate. With this one, though, we've had to go much grander. You're fighting across a solar system, right? Imagine you're looking down at kind of your ship's bridge at the hololith that's displayed. You're now deciding which planet do I wish to assault? Which regions should I conquer to give myself the most strategic advantage? Every decision you make as a player is not impacting just your current turn, but it's impacting every turn that goes on afterwards. Those decisions, they stick with you, they follow.
I love
it's
animations.
Not a linear path through, right? And also narratively, the decisions you make as an individual drive the outcome of the story itself and how that plays out. So even playing through with...
Did I just see them blow up a planet?
Individual drive the outcome of the story itself and how that plays out. So even playing through with the same faction multiple times will yield a different experience for you as a player.
We want their strategic decision-making to pull their forces through the game, but they will certainly encounter narrative events or the framing of why they're there, what their objectives are, how do they win. So the narrative framing will influence the rewards you'll kind of get for conquering a certain system. If you're the Astra Militarum and you take a plant on a civilized world, they're probably going to get a boost to tank production. If you're orcs and you come across a world rich in scrap, that's probably going to help you build some stompers much faster than going to agri world.
For sure, yeah, I like that.
If If you love Warhammer 40,000, we are bringing that to life in a way you will never have seen in any other video game that's been made. If you love your strategy gaming, right, in general, if you love your turn-based or real-time strategies, you know, we've got you there as well.
We cannot wait to spend the next many, many years crafting the ultimate grimdark experience. And you can help by joining our closed beta, which gets launched later this year. We are on social media, so please follow us for more news, and thank you again.
Man, I wish I had time. Maybe I'll make time. I want to play. Oh, I want to play. Okay, I think I'll try to sign up. Man, I'm so busy. Glaycast, thank you so much for the 5 months. I appreciate it. This, yeah, I'm so excited for this. It's going to be so cool. Like, I am already... Oh. My only critique that I have right now, where's a good example of this? Maybe it's back here. Oh, wait, here. Yeah, my only critique is that they should have more variety in the orcs. The orcs are not going to be, like, super uniformed. So they need, I know that's like money and art and stuff. It's just like, it's a really tiny detail. Whereas like you need more like random models, so it's like that. Personally, I've yet to be convinced they aren't jumping the shark in general here. Ooh, thank you for the bits, Grand Tourist. Like, I'm curious what you mean by that. Like what specifically? Okay, fair enough. I think it's just the yellow that puts me off for the orcs. Because if you say they look like they've just been pulled right off the table, that makes sense to me. Fine. I accept that. I'm not an orc player, but to me, I always imagine the orcs to be a little bit more scrappy. Oh, Red Tail Wolf, thank you. Thank you so much for the, thank you so much for the Warhammer figure. I appreciate it, the Joy Toy. And to whoever contributed towards my new mini camera, I am hoping to get a new mini painting camera so that you guys can see like the details so much better. So I appreciate it. Holy cow, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you. So, do sororitas abduct abhumans like felinid women? I think that's just a meme you've seen on the internet. I think that's a meme you've just seen on the internet, Gray. Thank you for the super chat. They need more DACA. Also, they need to be on Mac. Good luck. Good luck, PK. Thank you for the super chat, but on Mac. It might be a while before it even gets there, but good luck. But Red Tail Wolf, thank you so much for the bits. Thanks for adding to Throne. And thank you. I appreciate you contributing towards the camera. It's certainly a bigger thing, but it's gonna help out a lot. So I appreciate it. Oh, and thank you for the bits too. Camera Crusade. So I am looking forward to this. Oh, Grand Tourist, I don't expect this game to be good at launch. Let me make that clear. I do not expect the game to be good at launch. I imagine it's going to take a couple years before it gets really good. Will I get the game at launch? Yes, I will. But it's gonna suck for a little bit. Like, you're saying Total War Warhammer 3 was bad at launch? Okay. Where would you put it at now? It's probably fine. Omega Wolf, glad to see you here, and I'm happy you said thank you to Crimson Seraph. Yeah, these maps, they look so pretty. Ooh, yeah, bad at launch is this default for the industry now? Yeah, it's not wrong. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Now, this one I saw the other day, and I wanted to watch this. This is the Dark Heresy official narrated gameplay trailer. I'm excited. I'm excited. This is another game I want to play.
In the Imperium, truth is subjective, but duty is paramount. As an Inquisitor, you are judge, executioner, and instrument of the God Emperor's will. Your authority is absolute. A city drowns in prayer and fear. People are vanishing. Something is pulling the strings from the dark, and whispers spread through sanctuaries and slums alike. You'll search crime scenes, follow leads, interrogate witnesses, and collect evidence. Every detail you uncover goes into your investigation journal, where you connect clues, test theories, and build your case piece by piece. You can take the fast route, accusing the first culprit who fits, closing the file and letting fear do the rest. Or you can keep pulling on the thread and feel the icy hand of dread grow ever colder at your spine. You will not hunt alone. Your retinue is a weapon. Companions who bring their own skills, perspectives, and lines they won't want you to cross. But what matters is your duty and the outcome. The strict certainty of a Puritan or the pragmatic edge of a radical. Both are valid. Both come with consequences. In your investigations, combat becomes yet another way of asserting control. When words fail, judgment becomes tactical.
That's kind of cool, though.
The system is built to keep fights sharper and more responsive. Cover is streamlined, and it can be destroyed. You can also aim at specific body parts to disable enemies before finishing them. Concentration lets you deny opponents their most dangerous attacks, while morale can break a force even before the last shot is fired. And once a battle is clearly decided, you can end it on your terms. It's up to you to choose how you want to deal with the suspect. In this war, no one's hands are clean. Anyone can be guilty, because innocence proves nothing.
I'm so excited. Dude. I'm gonna play this so hard. I'm very excited. I love solving mysteries, and this is just gonna be peak. Gonna be peak. Oh, guys, you're so sweet. Thank you much, Dino Fan, for contributing to the camera. Mr. Cleet as well, and you, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Wait. Hang on. Wait a minute. My thing. Yeah, I was like, is my thing glitching? I think it was glitching on my end. I was like, huh? What's happening here? We're good. We're good. Okay. There you go. It glitched out for a second. I was like, what's happening? Hold up. Wait a minute. But thank you guys. I appreciate it. I did some research. I talked to my friend Froggy about the camera, and it's gonna be a really, really good one. Someone asked me a question and I was looking for it. Oh, there it is. There it is. Do you have any flying units that use GW flying bases? If you do, how did you solve the transporting issue? I have Custodes jet bikes, but I have not transported them, so I don't have a good solution for that. However, I think there's probably several people in the Discord that have done something similar. Yeah. I wish I had an answer for you. I wish I had an answer for you. Abby, thank you for the super chat. Hi, Aurelia. I hope you and chat are doing well. I think we are. Look at Ephrail Stern. She's a rogue sister who's one of the most powerful psychers in 40k, and Greyfax is my all-time favorite Inquisitor. I wanted to have a video for Ephrail Stern, but all of them are like super long, so I wanted to have like a day that was like more dedicated to that. We're kind of bouncing around because I found a bunch of fun things that I thought would be enjoyable. Wait a sec. Oh, that's why I was like so confused. Thank you, Mr. Clean, for the tripod. That's what that was. Thank you. I was like, my brain was not working. I apologize. My brain is not working today. I'm having a day. I'm having a day. Can you tell I don't normally stream on a Tuesday? I don't normally do Tuesdays. But what we have next here, I saw one Crack Duck video. Does Sisters of Battle armor make sense? I saw that. I'm like, that looks funny. And then he also has a regular Sisters of Battle video. So I figured we'd check both out, because I always find like the bikini armor to be hilarious. So, but we'll do that one second. Watching these videos really makes me wish like I could draw and be like entertaining in this way. Catch you later, Carol. Have a good night. Ceramite corsets. Yeah, very, very comfortable, you know. Very.
Hi friends, today let's talk about a faction that really embodies some of the coolest aspects of the Imperium. They're hyper-zealous, mega-religious, and hotties? That's right, today we're talking about the Sisters of Battle, or the Ordo Militant of the Adeptus Sororitas if you're a nerd. The Sisters of Battle are the Ecclesiarchy's military force since long ago the decree passed to forbade the Ecclesiarchy from allowing any quote-unquote men under arms. And then almost immediately after the decree, the Ecclesiarchy became the that guy of the hobby shop, ignoring rules as intended in order to exploit the rules as written so that they could field a giant army of powered armored nuns with guns. And thus, we have the Sisters of Battle that we all know and love today.
They're
but
really
the
cool.
Sisters of Battle weren't always the Sisters of Battle. Before they were the
Don't ask what their original name was.
Sisters, they were known as the Brides of the Emperor. And before that, they were known as the Daughters of the Emperor. And before that, they were known as, oh, that kid is cute, maybe I should have a daughter too, of the Emperor. And the Daughters of the Emperor were a pretty unknown secret warrior cult on the world of San Lior. They were a highly devout cult of women dedicated to the Emperor. But unlike regular cults, which usually ask for money or make you drink Kool-Aid to meet aliens, the Daughters of the Emperor learned how to kick ass so that when they actually did meet aliens, they could kill them. No Kool-Aid necessary. If only there was a game on mobile and PC where I could collect cool champions, fight in PvE and PvP arenas, and more. Oh wait, there is! Raid Shadow Legends! Right now is the best time to start playing Raid. There's a limited time offer where they're giving away 2 free epic heroes plus 1 legendary Sun Wukong for new players who use promo code Monkey King. This can help new players catch up to veterans of the game. So, new players can get a massive head start with these awesome champions in this radical game. The dungeons are my favorite part of the game, and I also like collecting the cool champions. And another thing that's cool is taking on clan bosses with your clanmates. Oh, did I mention? I have my own clan. A clan that you can join. The Crack Club. So, if you haven't started playing it, what are you waiting for? Click my link in the description and scan my QR code for an insane bonus available only for my link. You immediately get access to the epic Yurgo, who's one of the most valuable champions in the game. And after hitting level 15, you get another starter pack with the epic Fade, who's arguably even better than some legendary.
This is cursed. This is cursed. This is... It's like a regular hot lady with a rat head. Rat wife, yes, yes. I don't like.
Champions. Wow! After downloading with my link, don't forget to use promo code Monkey King to get a legendary champion, Sun Wukong, for free. But anyways, these ladies remained somewhat obscure until Mr. Goj Van Dyer heard about them and was like, oh gee willies,
Yeah.
a whole army of hot babes to kill my enemies. And he went to San Lior to recruit them. And at first, they thought he was a gross weirdo on account of him being a gross weirdo.
Yeah, I'm like,
but
they're right.
Van Dyer, through smoke and mirrors, convinced them that he was blessed by the Emperor. And by smoke and mirrors, I of course mean las guns and shield generators. And after his little trick, the daughters of the Emperor devoted themselves to Van Dyer, thinking that they were serving the Emperor's disciple. Under Van Dyer, they're renamed the Brides of the Emperor, given their iconic power armor, and
because he's a weirdo.
they became some of the best, if not the best, elite warriors in the Imperium. The Brides proved to be a potent force for Van Dyer's ecclesiarchal armies, even standing up to Space Marines in the Age of Apostasy and Van Dyer's Reign of Blood. Towards the end of the Reign of Blood, the Adeptus Custodes pulled a little gambit to sway the tenacious Brides of the Emperor. The Golden Boys took the leader of the sisters, Alicia Dominica, and 5 of her besties into the Imperial Palace to meet the Emperor himself. Before the Emperor, they realized that Van Dyer was a fraud and were overwhelmed with anger at Van Dyer's treachery. Miss Dominica went back to Van Dyer and executed him.
Based.
Grr, Goj, you will no longer be Goj Van Dyer because I will make you Goj Van Die. Grr, a chop chop. Afterwards, Dominica established the Sisters of Battle, and the Sisters of Battle became some of the Imperium's greatest warriors. Dominica's personal order was the Order of the Ebon Chalice. It was also around this time when the High Lords created the Decree Passive, and Sebastian Thor immediately pulled the loophole to get a military force in the newly formed Sisters of Battle. In the current time, the Sisters of Battle remain some of the most devout warriors of the Emperor and are arguably even more zealous than the most religious Space Marines. The Sisters of Battle are trained from a young age in the Scala Progenium to be the best warriors they could possibly be without extensive gene enhancement or augmentation.
That is what impresses me the most about them. They just go and kick butt without all the stuff that's happening around them. They're just like, yep. Doesn't matter what's happening around us. Doesn't matter we're not gene enhanced. We're just going to kick butt.
I still think the Khazarkan are better. They don't need fancy-pantsy power armor or miracles to kick ass. But that's not to say sisters aren't great warriors. I'm just a huge Khazarkan simp. The sisters are some of the...
I mean, well, I would say as a whole, women are weaker than men. So the power, I don't think they would do nearly as well if they didn't have the power armor. Not saying the Khazarkan aren't cool, but the men are probably... It's easier for them to go without it. You know,
best humanity has to offer, and they have some of the best gear of regular humans. Even before their murder school curriculum is over, the sisters are formidable warriors, and sister novitiates are sometimes recruited into inquisitorial retinues or trusted to carry out vital missions and kill teams led by sister superiors. This ensures that many novitiates get actual combat experience before being made a full-fledged sister of battle. Once made into Sister of Battle, the novitiate is given power armor and her sacred bolt gun. Almost every piece of equipment that a sister uses is blessed, anointed with holy oils, or otherwise warded to enhance the sister's effectiveness against the unholy, the unpure,
they made it more
and
shiny.
the downright heretical. Their power armor is a special pattern fitted for regular humans to use. Much like Astartes' power armor, the Sisters' armor greatly enhances their speed, strength, and durability. And they also have plug ports so they can interface more naturally with their armor and mostly be unburdened by it. But they don't have the black carapace of Marines, so they're slightly more sluggish than a Marine would be. This is, of course, on top of the relative sluggishness that would come from not being a genetically modified super freak. But the Sisters are still quite agile and can easily outpace normal people. Then, beyond the bolt gun, the Sisters of Battle frequently use flamers and melta guns. The bolter, the flamer, and the melta make up the Sisters of Battle's holy trinity of weapons, which is just cool as hell. Plus, they also frequently use chain swords, power swords, plasmas, and other Imperial staples. They just usually prefer to immolate their foes in holy flame. In battle, Sisters are ruthless opponents. Along with their top-of-the-line war gear, the Sisters' extreme faith helps them punch well above their weight. The Sisters' faith is at an absolute wacko extreme crazy style levels, even compared to the average super crazy style religious Imperial. This means that beyond making them have near inhuman levels of resolve and willpower in battle, the Sisters can literally make their faith manifest in battlefield miracles and other wacko things. One of said nutty wacko things are their living saints, and perhaps the nuttiest living saint and most famous sister of battle is Saint Celestine.
Yep.
Saint Celestine was just a normal lady who got blasted, and then she was just a normal sister of battle who got blasted. But through faith and miracle, she was resurrected and eventually got imbued with divine powers. She donned the armor of
looks
the
so
legendary
cool.
Saint Catherine and found the ardent blade in a crypt she was put in. She proved to be a powerful warrior and inspiring figure on the battlefield. Eventually, she was once again killed, but she got resurrected. Then again and again,
It just keeps
killed and
happening.
resurrected, blah, blah. And over time, she became more angelic and powerful. Along with her resurrections, she also has angel wings, the ability to resurrect other sisters and other divine silliness. Now, not every living saint is to the level of Saint Celestine on a holy moly scale, but many do have some divine boosters, and nearly all of them are at the very least some of the greatest warriors in the order. Also, saint status isn't just reserved to sisters. Any Imperial can be given sainthood. One of the most notable examples being Lord Solar Macarius, the coolest dude ever.
He's very
But
cool.
jumping from one of the coolest dudes ever, let's talk on some of the coolest units ever. The Seraphim and Zephyrim are the coolest Sisters of Battle unit as far as I'm concerned. These are Sisters of Battle with jetpacks shaped like angel wings who fly around the battlefield, killing whatever dares to disgrace the Emperor. The Zephyrim are the melee variant, utilizing power swords and bolt pistols, and the
Okay.
Seraphim are the coolest shit ever variant. These chicks usually dual-wield pistols of the bolt, flame, and inferno variety to carry
I
out
dig
rapid
it.
hit-and-run strikes across the battlefield. Dual pistols are badass, angel jetpacks are badass, put them together, and that's like double badass. Seraphim, more like Sarah flipping cool, man. Am I right, boys? Both these units are seen as angels.
Is he right, boys? Is he right? Is he right? So Saint Celestine is like Mothra? Silence. Silence, PK. Thank you for the super chat, though. And Abby, thank you for the super chat as well. He didn't mention Arabella, Catherine. Yeah, he didn't. He did not mention each leader of the orders. No, he hasn't. He hasn't mentioned it so far. I doubt he'll get into it since this seems like a general overview. Oh gosh, I'm gonna say her name wrong. I think it's Morven Val is an absolute unit, and my queen, I would recommend her book. I've heard that book is good. It should go on my list. Thank you, Snow, for the super chat as well.
Great, cool, man. Am I right, boys? Both these units are seen as angels gracing the war zone and vanquishing foes of the Emperor from the skies above. They often
Okay, the Emperor didn't actually set up the Sisters of Battle. I don't think he minds having an army of divas. Thank you, CQB Loyalist, for the bits, but I don't think that was, I don't think he planned that.
often inspire sisters, guardsmen, and other Imperials, reinvigorating them for even more killing. But another interesting and iconic unit of the Sisters of Battle are the Sisters Repentia. And the Repentia are actually some of the most 40k units out there. They
Dude,
really
they're
embody the
crazy.
zealotry and insanity of the Order, and by extension, the 40k universe. Repentia are Sisters of Battle who have disgraced the Emperor in one way or another and seek repentance. Wait a minute! Holy moly! Repentia want to repent!
Whoa.
Yeah, who would have thought? So after whatever shameful thing they did, they're stripped of their armor and weapons and given a giant eviscerator and sent into battle. The Repentia can repent for past sins usually in two ways. Either she's blasted to bits on account of her being a naked crazy lady with a giant sword, or if the Repentia somehow survives enough battles, kills enough heretics, or otherwise proves that she's a cool lady, then she is seen as been given the Emperor's blessing and guidance, and is reinstated as a Sister of Battle proper. And I just think the idea of the Repentia is really neato. The idea that the Sisters of Battle have full faith that the Emperor will protect them and will guide them as long as they're righteous, so much to the point that they'll charge at pretty much anything with no armor, a big old sword, and a
is
kill
pretty
you
cool.
attitude is just so cool. Oh, and they also have church tanks and drop chapel.
I was hoping he'd talk about this. The organ tank, oh my gosh. The coolest mini.
Their dropship is a church. They shoot missiles out of a church pipe organ.
Yes.
Badass.
Yes.
Which brings us to my favorite part of the Sisters. They're just like super cool, specifically with their aesthetic and vibe. They really
agree.
embody what I feel most people envision Warhammer to be. Religious imagery having a freakazoid baby with cool sci-fi shit. They also have some of the absolute coolest art in the setting. It has a real grimdark vibe that I feel a lot of people kind of think is leaving the setting. But now, let's take a trip to Serious Town to discuss
yeah?
one of the most pressing and important questions of all.
Okay.
Would the Sisters of Battle be hotties? The answer to that
Yes.
is,
Yes. It mainly depends on your type. But they're all going to be fit and toned babes. So I understand some of you may not be into the super muscle mommy types. But yes, they're obviously going to be hot. I like women who would kill me. Okay. Yeah, okay, so someone said, Rogue 2 said, you better call the woman holding a heavy flamer hot. But, like, what if she assumes you're, like, catcalling her, and she doesn't want you to call her hot? Because she's not going to take any nonsense from you. I mean, I'm of the opinion they have to be hot. Yeah, in that case, you will be hot for the rest of your life. Your very short life. They have to be hot. There's no way they can't be hot. They got the muscles, like they probably... No, I'm not going to say that. But if you're super muscular like that, usually you're not incredibly endowed because that's how bodies work. But still hot. They got good butts, at least.
resounding yes. Obviously.
Yes.
For Emperor's sake, 2 out of the 3 of their holy weapons are heat-based, you dummy. Fire is hot. Duh. And I'm no chemist, but to melt something, you gotta make it H-O-T hot. So
yes, correct.
The Sisters of Battle are confirmed
well said.
hotties. Woo! So, to quote the ancient hymn, ahem, H-O-T-T-O-G-O, burn the heretics head to toe. Am I right, kids? But yeah, that's the Sisters of Battle. They're a really cool faction that really leans into the religious stylings of 40k in a very cool way. Bang bang, crazy religious chicks in power armor are just super cool. Doubly cool when they have angel wings and dual bolt pistols. And triply cool when those chicks jump out of drop chapel screaming hymns. And like I said before, I think they have some of the coolest 40k art out there.
The art is very
also
cool.
have to cover the orders and characters in a future video. Morven Vol is a total mad lad. Or, I guess, Mad Lad-E, I suppose. But anyways, don't forget to click my link in the description to play Raid
Why is his
Shadow.
finger so long? Why is his finger so long? Based in Sister of Battle build, I love the Sisters of Battle. Personally, I would not play with them as an army, but I really like their lore and I think they're really cool. Question, is being attracted to the Sisters of Battle heresy, or is not being attracted to them heresy? Not being attracted to them is heresy. Shades dude, thank you for the super chat. Yeah, it is a requirement. You have to be attracted to them. If you're not, something's wrong with you. I play Sisters and it's pretty great for people who like to cheat dice. Oh, how so, Ghosty Locks? I'm very curious. Here, we've got 15 seconds. Let's see if there's anything more.
Legends. And of course, thank you for watching, and thank you to my awesome patrons who help the channel grow and help me make cool videos.
Yeah.
And as always, please like, comment, subscribe, and consider sharing to all your powered armor hotties. Thanks.
Oh. We're gonna watch his video on the here in a second. Let me link. I don't like this. When I click on the next video, I try to pause it right away and it's like, ew, no. Give that sucker a like. Oh, thanks, Tube. Right, he got it for me. He got it for me. I'll send it to YouTube. Yeah, I'm gonna wait for the ads to the end. Okay, wait. I want to see how do you cheat with the dice? Miracle dice. Got it. Miracle dice. I have so many emotes. Oh, did you just get gifted a sub? Yeah. That's not even like some people have way more emotes. I haven't gotten new emotes made in like almost a year. Almost a year. Is it wrong to ask a sister for uppies? It depends on the context. Like, you could be seen as disrespectful. An optimistic pessimist. Thank you so much for the bits. I forget if I said that. So we'll go there. With the next one ready. Does Sister of Battle armor make sense? I know there's always complaints about boob armor. I personally don't prefer the boob armor, which is why I designed my model the way I did. So, like, it's like one big piece. I did not want individual boobas. So that's not the vibe I'm going for. Yes, my face is my shield, and whenever I need to, I can just, put that on. Be careful with how you phrase no boob armor. No boob armor, just your boobs. Yes, the design is very human for my helmet. For sure. I think the boob armor actually serves a visual function to show that they aren't men under arms. Oh, that's a great point. But couldn't a man just wear boob armor? Like, he doesn't have to fill it out. But I guess the waist part would be kind of annoying. Alright, well, let's see what Crack Duck has to say about this, because I'm curious. He had my attention.
Hi, friends. So Sisters of Battle, they have to be one of the coolest 40k factions, right? Just a bunch of badass ladies running around with bolters, flamers, and a...
Is it just me, or is he quiet? I have him turned up. Is he quiet for you guys? Okay, I have him turned up on both OBS and YouTube, so we'll see.
Religious fervor that rival the most powerful anti-vaxxers. However, something I've seen a good amount as of late were people saying the armor isn't a great design. And by armor, we all know what I'm referring to. But if you don't, I'm talking about the...
I think he's about to get loud here in a second.
By armor, we all know what I'm referring to.
Boobies.
But if you don't, I'm talking about the boobs, baby! Big old boobies! B-O-B, boobs!
Boobs!
This is the battle more like, sister, I have to battle the urge to look at those boobies, am I right? Why the fuck did I write that last night? But anyways, a lot of people, they don't like the Sisters of Battle armor, and for a number of reasons. And so today I kind of just want to delve into that topic and figure out, does the Sisters of Battle boob armor make sense in the context of 40k? And before we get into this...
Is this one of his older videos? When was this? 2 years ago, and that's an old video? Dang.
I want to preface this by saying, I'm not a historian or armor expert or anything. I've done my research, but I'm not claiming to be the #1 source on any of these topics. So take what I say with a grain of salt. And if I make any mistakes, please feel free to correct me. But with that out of the way, let's get into it. So I've seen a lot of people criticize the Sisters of Battle armor for a few reasons.
Boobs.
And I'll just rip the band-aid off right now. I don't think a lot of those reasons make sense in the context of 40k, and I actually think they have a really good armor design. And before you call me some wild Coomer or something, please allow me to explain why I think that the Sisterhood Battle boob armor actually makes a lot of sense and is a good design. So, the biggest complaint I see is that boob armor is just stupid because it's not practical. A lot of women in fiction, they wear these boob armors or these other questionable suits of armor, and it really just doesn't make sense as armor. And that's true. The only problem I have with that is that 40K often doesn't have exclusively practicality in mind.
100%. Yeah.
I don't think that this Exarch needs this funky hat to fight better. This captain doesn't need to wear a giant-ass skeleton around his shield to block some bullets better. Magnus, he doesn't need his frickin' titty horns to break the webway and ruin the galaxy by doing, quote-unquote, nothing wrong. Even the relatively utilitarian guard is led by this dude on a shining golden horse, and don't even get me started on his much cooler predecessor who looked like a mini god emperor with his god tier drip. Yeah, so practicality isn't really the number one thing in 40K. And even real-life historical armor isn't exclusively about practicality. Likely the most well-known example of that is the Muscle Curious. This is a type of armor that was used in ancient times by a few different nations, most notably ancient Rome, having sculpted abs and sick-ass pecs. Those have no purpose other than drip, but there is evidence that these pieces were actually used in battle. But those aren't even the worst of it. Sir, the enemy forces are approaching. I don't know if our forces can handle them. We may die today. How many are there? 1,000? No, sir. 10,000? No, less than that, sir. What? 500? Sir, there is one knight approaching.
Oh.
What? Why would we be threatened by one measly gnaw? Oh, dear Lord, help us. That's right.
Not the cod piece. Dang!
There's real-life armor out there that has a large metal dong sticking out. And let me introduce you to the cod piece. Back in the good old days,
I don't know where to look.
Cats on the block, they all wore these cock-shaped cod pieces in order to be modest about their cock-shaped cocks. Following the modern trends, this epically badass piece of intimidation was worn by some rich people who wanted to show off how flippin' cool they were on the battlefield. And, as you might have guessed, these pieces have very little practical use in combat. There's even things that are less extreme that show that practicality isn't the only thing that's considered when making armor. There's tons of examples of armor.
Look, I'm not, like, advocating for not protecting the crown jewels, but, like, well, that's not the crown jewels. You know, the assets. It just makes me uncomfy. I was trying to think of something that worked, but I was like, crown jewels is not. That's a different part. Yeah. Yeah, the sword. Yes. Yes. Yes, that. I don't need to see. I don't need to know. No. I don't want to hear anything about stabs. Not after yesterday. And Sunday's video. And that was...
with these cool engravings and awesome decorations that really serve no purpose. Many cultures, they just make cool-looking armors because, well, they look cool, and they're a sign of power, wealth, or it's just a cultural norm at the time. And to me, this idea just fits the Sisters perfectly. The Sisters are the Ecclesiarchy's military force, and to the Imperium and the Ecclesiarchy, religious fervor is extremely important, and they would obviously wear things that would reflect that. Here's another historical example. Samurai armor, it's one of the coolest looking armors, right?
It is, I agree.
Weeb! Alright, shut up. You know it's true.
You guys tell him a weeb because I've got my anime VTuber model.
But anyways, one of the most striking details of samurai armor are the badass masks. You got demons, you got mustaches, you got, I don't know, something weird. But yeah, these masks, they technically have no practical reason to look like this. They don't help you in battle. And some would argue that it's actually detrimental to have these giant mustaches sticking out of your face, or the extra weight of the demon ornamentation would be detrimental in battle, this and that. But despite that, the masks were quite frequently worn, and it's commonly believed that these masks were worn as intimidation, and some other researchers believe that the warriors may have even thought that these pieces of armor could help ward off bad spirits. Intimidating armor, power of belief, faith, and gaudy decorations potentially warding off evil spirits. Does that sound like anyone? Yeah, in 40k, belief literally has power over the force of chaos. For example, in 40k, a passionate stroke of the blade will kill a demon better than a shot taken from a million-yard gun line.
Yep, that's what we were talking about.
And Sisters of Battle, they literally ride churches and sing hymns as they slay enemies of the Imperium. They are just as important as a symbol as they are a fighting force. Now you might say, okay, but what does that have to do with boobs? I clicked for the boobs and I want boobs! Yeah, keep in your pants a little longer. I'll get to that soon. But before that, one important aspect of the Adeptus Sororitatis is that they are an all-female fighting force. Their femininity is an inherently important aspect of their order and existence. The Sisters of Battle, they came to be the Ecclesiarchy's military force after Mr. Van Dyer decided to have a little oopsies and kill billions, and so the decree passive forbade the Ecclesiarchy from gathering, training, promoting, sustaining, or in any way commanding any force of men under arms. However, due to imperial bureaucracy and a general 40k silliness, a Macbeth-esque loophole gets pulled in which the ecclesiarchs reason that, oh, well, you know, the Sisters of Battle, they're all girls, so that would exempt them from the decree because they aren't men under arms. They're actually women under power armor. But, you know, with this in mind, it does make perfect sense to me that the armor of the sisters would emphasize their femininity.
That's one of the chatters said.
Religious iconography. The fact that they're female is the reason that the ecclesiarch gets to have a military at all. And so the dreaded boob armor and corsets, they make sense in driving this point home. You know? But even with that, I know there's still going to be some people who say, well, that's not a valid reason. The armor, it's still impractical and it's not befitting of an elite fighting force. And to that, I kind of just raised the question of whether or not real-life downsides of ornamental armor would even apply to the Sisters of Battle. And so what do I mean by this? Well, the most commonly said disadvantages of boob armor, as far as I can tell, are 1. They have poor force distribution, 2. There's more grab points, and 3. It's often heavier. However, taking into account the lore of 40k, I feel like all 3 of these disadvantages are made a bit moot because of a few reasons.
Okay.
So first off, let's address the extra weight. The armor the Sisters of Battle wear is power armor, meaning that not only is it extremely resilient, but it's also powered and enhances strength.
You're not going to need to worry about it. Fair enough.
Although they won't be as reactive as a Space Marine, since they don't have the black carapace, the extra weight of the armor would be pretty negligible. So having a bit of extra boob-shaped weight likely wouldn't meaningfully hinder the Sisters of Battle at all, nor would all their little trinkets and skulls. Alright, now let's address the second issue of force distribution. When criticizing boob armor, many points to the fact that
that would probably be my main point of contention.
It basically funnels strikes into the center of the chest onto a weakened point of the armor. And this is obviously bad because it allows more force to be put onto a vital point. However, I think this is once again mitigated by the fact that sisters are wearing power armor, and also, to a certain extent, the enemies that they face. What do I mean by this? Well, power armor is extremely durable and resistant, so most conventional small arms weapons wouldn't likely do much damage or penetrate the armor at all. And then on the opposite end of the spectrum, any of the insane 40k weapons that could penetrate power armor with efficiency, they would likely do so regardless of the relatively small weakness. For example, power weapons in 40k, they basically work because they have an energy field that splits things on a molecular level, and so that means it could cut through pretty much any armor with ease. So having a small weakness wouldn't really change that fact, you know? Alright, lastly, we have the issue of grab points. Like the last few topics, I think that the context of 40k matters. Most enemies that could hit a grab point and knock you down, they would likely just kill you with that strike. And if they couldn't, it's unlikely that they would be able to do meaningful damage even when you were knocked over. For example, if a Khorne Berserker is running down the battlefield, he's likely insta-killing anything he happens to hit. And so, in that regard, it wouldn't matter if a Chain Axe happened to hit the grab point of the boob armor, because you would just be dead. And on the other hand, if a cultist was able to somehow get his spear or sword lodged into the cleavage of the boob armor and knock the sister over, it's unlikely that he'll be able to do much meaningful damage before the sister's able to respond with her superior strength, speed, and durability. And so, to that extent, the extra grab points of the armor don't really matter all that much. So, to conclude this video, I just want to clarify, I'm not trying to say that the Sisters of Battle armor doesn't create some weaknesses over a more practical design. However, what I am trying to say, and the whole argument of the video, is that I believe there are very valid lore reasons to have things like boob armor. And in addition, I think there's enough historical and cultural precedent to plausibly believe that the elite fighting force of a future megachurch would wear armor like this. And I think that the weaknesses that the boob armor presents are small enough to justify their existence, if it means that the sisters have a more powerful image and that they send the messages that the ecclesiarchy wants to send.
Yeah, honestly, I think this is well reasoned.
Plus, let's just be honest, most things in 40k exist because they're cool, and that's reason enough for them to exist, you know? And with that, please let me know what you thought about the video. Do you have any rebuttals? Please post those in the comments. Do you agree with me? Do you think every faction should have boob armor? Whatever you thought, please comment below and let me know. And if you liked the video, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing with a friend. I'm still working on this channel, trying to improve my skills and get better, so if you have any constructive criticisms or advice, those would also be greatly appreciated. Thanks.
I like that. That was really solid. I thought he was well reasoned. And frankly, I was gonna say something. I totally forgot what I was going to say. Here we're gonna like the video.
Hi. I'm Arth. Wait,
Bro. I'm gonna fight YouTube. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna fight YouTube. Today's the day. Today's the day. Yeah, we're gonna... Sorry, Arthur. We'll say hi in a second. We'll say hi in a second. I was gonna say something and I totally forgot. I'm throwing off my game. What about the Squirrel Nuts Protector? PK, thank you for the super chat. We're not gonna call it that. We're good. We're good. Yeah, Crack is awesome. And his art has improved since the last time. Man, I forgot what I was gonna say. Yeah, I don't like that I can't pause it within the first second. It gets like, it's weird. Like I click it right away and it's like, no. No. But I like that, and honestly, oh yes, I know what I was gonna say. For the Sisters of Battle, it's all about branding. You have to have really good branding. Because you are supposed to inspire people. You're not going to inspire people, like, let's see, look at that little... You're not inspiring anyone with this. This, inspiring, it has drip, it has aura. You can change in the settings for it not to start. Oh! One moment. Playback and performance. Where? Because my options are language and then playback. It shows info cards. Subtitles and closed caption and browsing, and that's it. It doesn't say anything else about changing the settings. I'll wait. I want to know this because it irritates me every time. Oh, that's a great point. The faction with the literal pipe organ as a weapon isn't practical. Yeah, obviously. To be honest, when I hear boob armor, I think of the bikini armor, not Sister Silence. Oh, yeah, I agree. When I hear boob armor, I definitely think it's the bikini armor with barely anything there. I don't see an option. I don't see it as an option. I don't have this problem on my phone, but on, like, my computer all the time. Oh, is it by the closed caption button? Let me look. Because I went into, like, my actual... I went into my settings. So let me... Because I don't mind that it autoplays. I just want to pause it in the first second. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything that lets me... Oh, it's just I don't like the fact that when it goes to the next video, like, I can't pause it within the first second. It's just annoying. It's not really a big deal. I can turn off autoplay, and that's fine. Where is that? Yeah, I know autoplay is next to the closed caption, but I just... I was hoping I could stop the pausing thing. That was the thing that annoys me more. Okay, let me just put this back up. No, it's just I've never tried that, but I like to pause it right away, and it just is annoying. Is it just me, or am I not seeing where the autoplay... Closed caption, settings... Yeah, am I going crazy that I don't see the no autoplay option? Oh, is it because I'm on a playlist? It's mad? Okay, cool. So I'm not going crazy. Cool. It's fine. It's fine. I'll just try to be on top of it. I wonder if I can turn it off from my phone. I doubt it. I doubt it's going to work the way I want it to, but... Whatever. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. Dotted lines by the thanks. Nope. Anyways, it's fine. Yeah. It just doesn't let me pause in the first second, and that's the part that I don't like the most. Thankfully, I had desktop muted so you guys didn't get your eardrums blasted. Nope, I checked the dotted lines on the top of the playlist too. It is what it is. It is what it is. Okay. I don't really know anything about the Dark Mechanicum, but I was like, Oh, what did I just do? So I thought it would be interesting if we checked it out, because I only know, oh, half the Mechanicum just decided they just didn't want to be with the Emperor anymore. That's it. Yeah, they're heretics. That's all I know. That's all I know.
Hi. I'm Arth. Wait, did I cover AdMech yet?
Oh,
hey, I didn't. That's neat. Someone's gonna get mad about this. But hi, hello, it's me, here to go on some long, uncomfortable rant about a topic I think is worth dissecting and discussing. To get into a preamble nice and proper, I've mentioned it before, but as long as I could remember, I've always enjoyed being afraid. The idea is a bit pervasive in my mind, where I will actively seek out media and circumstances that, within my control, can provide me with a degree of some kind of shock or fear or adrenaline to some sort.
The only time I would seek anything out like that is roller coasters. I don't like watching horror movies. And the occasional video game, but like, I generally don't like to play them.
It's gotta also be manageable and reasonable to acquire, and not have a high potential of me dying horribly, but what do I mean by this? I love horror movies. I love horror games played in the dark in the middle of the night. I have a comprehensive historical knowledge base of both horror gaming and movie history, all the way from the early 40s to about 1999, because I just kind of stopped caring after that. But because of that, I seek out new movies and games to play from time to time. But it also manifests in mildly concerning behavior. You know, sometimes when you're biking downhill on a dark night, you just close your eyes to feel a bit of fear. It's a primordial concept, that. Something we can all relate to. But not many people enjoy it. So I suppose it's not something we can get united in. I will continue to say that in 40K there is a lot of concepts that I think are the grounds for good horror, but are mishandled. Enslavers are amazing body horror. The Ghoul Stars are such fun, eldritch nonsense that I genuinely think they may be my favorite topic in the 40K setting. Now, I'll let you know what I think is actually the most horrifying thing in 40K in a second, but before
I walk into the woods without a light to listen to the sounds. No. I assume you don't live in the Appalachian Mountain area, because I heard you just don't do that. Because, dude, that's... No. If I did that, I'd be strapped. I'd be strapped if I did that.
Before I do, I just want to thank my channel members for supporting me. You all have provided me the means to get this work done and be rewarded for it. So from the bottom of my heart, I thank you all. And if you want to support me as well as gain access to additional content, then become a channel member today. So what is the scariest thing in 40K? There is a lot of topics I think could fit the bill, but I think the scariest thing in Warhammer 40K or any Warhammer property is always going to be the Dark Mechanicum, which a lot of you would nod and say, oh, I get it, but I don't think the sheer horror of what these entities represent is easily conveyed to all of you. So a little background to this. Basically, who are the Dark Mechanicum and why are they not called the Dark Mechanicus, like, you know, the Adeptus Mechanicus? Because during the early days of the Horus Heresy, the Fabricator General of Mars, aka the leader of what was then a separatist faction of the Imperium known as the Mechanicum, sided with Horus Lupercal. This is big because, well, the Mechanicum back then still occupied the same niche that the Mechanicus does today, where they give tech, armor, and most importantly, weapons to the individuals in need that they work with. Kelbor Hal, the man in question, was of a certain mindset, and we'll expand upon that in a second. But see, on Mars at the time, there wasn't a centralized truth or set of beliefs that occupied the minds of its residents. See, due to the separation between Mechanicum and the Imperium of Mankind, there wasn't this imperial truth permanently affixed to them where they didn't have any form of superstition. So the levels of superstition varied between they believed that the Emperor of Mankind was the Omnissiah descended upon Earth and was there as an envoy to the machine god, all the way down to actual logical scientists who did adopt the imperial truth as the main set of beliefs that they would incorporate. Some believed that machines had spirits and some did not. There was this idea that science was going to prevail, but some people believed that science was an affront to the machine god, and it ended with a lot of tension between Night Houses, Titan Legios, and of course, the different manufactorums of Mars. This exploded when Kelbor Hal and another individual by the name of Regulus infected the data flow of Mars with something referred to as the scrap code. It was essentially this demonic computer virus that would actually destroy and or take control of machines in the local area.
It's pretty crazy.
It caused reactors to overload. It caused so many other issues to pop up, but it was sealed off from some of the other members who had different means of intercepting data flows. Most of Mars, following this, was lost to a civil war that erupted between the individuals who were affected by the scrap code and the individuals who willingly took it in. There was a lot of the Mechanicum that ended up being evacuated, but most of them ended up dying if they didn't fall in with Kalbar Hal and the Dark Mechanicum.
Yeah,
the
that's
ones who
pretty
ended up going
bad.
back to Terra ended up getting absorbed into the Imperium and became one of its Adepta, the Adeptus Mechanicus. One of the individuals who was taken there ended up becoming the new Fabricator General, and Kalbar Hal ended up being disavowed, and so on and so forth. But
Naturally.
that's kind of the gist of how there was this separation. Knowing that, you could think that the Dark Mechanicum are just the evil versions of the Mechanicus, and from a reductionist point of view, you'd be right. But the point to think about here is that, as I mentioned, there were a bunch of mentalities on Mars before this schism, and the one that was the most pervasive in the Dark Mechanicum,
How am I
and the one
looking
that
at this
separated
picture?
them from the Mechanicus, is that the Dark Mechanicum viewed humanity with disdain and disgust. They saw emotions as weakness,
Oh.
and not only did they believe in the core concept of the Mechanicus, which is the flesh is weak, they believe that even through improvement, it's not good. You shouldn't have any flesh whatsoever. You should
Yikes.
replace it as quickly as possible. Not improve upon it, change it. Get rid of it. They viewed humanity as nothing more than a nuisance. They saw machines and all things adjacent to them as tools to get what they needed done, which led to them
that's
having
rough.
a kind of no-nonsense approach to experimentation and the construction of war machines. Not following where this is going? Okay, let's break it down even more. Being captured by a Dark Eldar, or Drukari, is horrible because you have this fear of being tortured forever for the pleasure and entertainment of others. Now, you might be released on a whim, or you might just be executed for no reason just to make someone laugh. But being captured by the Dark Mechanicum is, although the same end result, is a completely different level of fear and horror. It is essentially the same thing. You will be tortured in a way that you would probably be better off not arriving alive, if you catch my drift. But with this added caveat that you are being collected simply for parts. If they do not need you, they will not take you. They will leave you where you are, alive, dead, so on and so forth. But say one of the machines has a broken piece of cabling, and due to the most recent research they had, they realized that the best and most long-lastingly efficient way to fix it is to steal the ligaments and tendons in the arms and legs of a standard human of about 6 feet in height. So they start to round up these individuals. They take those tendons and rewire those machines and use them for spare parts. Then they would use your muscular tissue to reinforce synthetic slave workers like Dark Servitors or just Skitari that needed the tensile strength of a human muscle. Maybe even use your skin to reflesh one of the individuals that might have lost something due to an accident. Your bones would be used to reinforce organic weapons of war, being support struts, or even just as decoration for a shock unit of some sort decorated with skulls. The horror of the Dark Mechanicum is cold. It is detached. It has the feeling of you are literally just another part of the machine and completely replaceable.
that.
It is dehumanizing, and that is why I think I resonate with this kind of horror. See, the thing that scares me the most is a specific kind of irreversible body horror that is related to slowly losing yourself. It's why my favorite movie of all time is John Carpenter's The Thing. And my favorite fan theory about John Carpenter's The Thing is if you are infected with this thing and you've been assimilated, you don't know. So you just act in accordance with how you feel is correct. And that kind of loss of self is very powerful to me. But a good example of what I'm talking about in 40K can be found in Dead Sky Black Sun, where there is a subfaction of the Dark Mechanicum that works for the Iron Warriors under Hanzu's control, known as the Savage Morticians. They are the ones that invented that funky machine that I can't fully explain or talk about because I got demonetized the last time I said anything about it. So yeah, if you don't know it, just watch that video. It is interesting that the creation of the Munculaba is actually attributed to the Iron Warriors when in fact the people who made it were the Savage Morticians, who are just absolutely horrible. A more fleshy version of the Dark Mechanicum by making more Frankenstein-y style monsters rather than robot atrocities, but I digress. This, again, does also highlight the depersonalization of the faction, when in the book one of their servants had his neck snapped, and it didn't do much other than just make him laugh a little bit and go, oh dang it, I guess it's time to get a new vertebrae. The loss of self, the lack of care, the apathy that comes with this faction is one of the reasons I find them so interesting as a whole. There is a lot of good horror in in the setting, but I find the Dark Mechanicum is every fear you've ever had about a hospital lumped into one faction. They are why it's mandatory for all doctors and scientists taking their university courses to regularly take ethics and morality courses, because without ethics or morality, science just becomes what the Dark Mechanicum inevitably became, which is a fun idea. I love that 40k fiction expands on these kinds of topics and then pushes them to an extreme that is not really seen or done in other fictitious series. It's why I come back, because there is some very distinctly interesting 40k concepts that I will never see in anything else.
What is
but
that?
That might just be me gushing over the fact that I still really love the movie Virus from the 90s, because the Dark Mechanicum has a very similar aesthetic to the creatures that were in that film, and I adore that obscure gem. So, with that all in mind, what do you think of the Dark Mechanicum? Cool? Not cool? Agree with me that they are the most horrifying faction in the series? Or if you disagree, let me know what you think is scarier in the comments, and if you have sources, I'll definitely check them out because I like discussing horror concepts. I've been dabbling with Warhammer horror, like the specific brand they're trying to push, just to kind of see if it's worth its salt, and I've had a lot of mixed results leaning towards negative. I haven't really enjoyed them as much as I could have, but I'm always down to be proven wrong. Also, remember to like and subscribe, as it helps the channel.
Ew, I hate this mouth thing.
Stay afloat, especially in these dark times when YouTube seems to be viciously demonetizing everything I put up, which... But once again, thanks for watching. And till next time, remember that there is a good chance that the Dark Mechanicum is probably...
Oh, wow. I hate that. But that is it's a cool but gross, terrible mini. I didn't realize this existed. But, yeah, Vashtor, but I didn't realize I never looked into it.
Becoming a faction in this edition, so deal with whatever ends up on the tabletop then. I'm
gonna like it. There you go. There, I stopped before we got to it. I did it, guys. Are you proud of me? Are you proud of me? No, I have not seen the video of what Superman being in 40k would be like. Probably wouldn't be very good for him. Just thinking about it. Yeah, I don't like. I do not like. Oh. Forgive me. Boy. I got tired all of a sudden. I'm like, ugh.
Welcome back to the Grim Derpness,
okay.
The 42nd Millennium.
This video is called A Tanker's View of the Baneblade Tank. I just thought it was interesting. I was like, what's this about? And his thumbnail said ooh woo on it, so I thought it might be funny. I have no idea. But I thought it could be interesting, and you know, why not? Why not give it a look? Sleepy? Yes. All the time. All day, every day, man. Oh. Let me check my audio really fast.
Welcome back to the Grim Derpness, the 42nd Millennium.
Okay. That sound good? Don't stay up on a school night. I don't go to school. It doesn't matter. Night, Bard. Alright, audio's fine. No one said anything that it was bad, so we're gonna go. Yell at me if it's bad.
Welcome back to the Grim Derpness, the 42nd Millennium.
Blood
Given
Angels.
the success of my last video on the Lehman Russ, you made it very loud and clear that you wanted me and my Blood Angels hoodie to take on the Bane.
Okay, when he said Lehman Russ, this popped up and I was like, that's not a Lehman Russ.
Blade Super Heavy tank next. So let's pump that algorithm up and get a tanker's view of the Baneblade.
Baneblade ready for new orders. The Emperor speaks through these guns.
So as I start this video, I'd like to start by saying thank you to each and every one of you who's subscribed over the last 2 weeks. You left some wonderful comments and made my Lehman Russ video the most popular video I've ever put on YouTube. So to all of you, each and every one of you, thank you. The Emperor protects.
This is from a while ago.
If you're not subscribed, I'd still love if you would. And give me the old thumbs up, maybe leave me a comment down below. So with my self-service out of the way, let's give you exactly what you're after. The Baneblade. And boy howdy have we got a lot to cover. I'm going to begin by saying, this is all in fun. Only my own personal opinion based on my time as a tank crewman. We all know 40k lore is inconsistent from novel to novel, games and even codices. So I'm just going to look at the Baneblade overall, interject my opinions of how practical I think it may be from my own perspective. I'm going to miss probably a bunch of points you're all going to point out to me in the comments down below. You know what? That's fine. But I'm just trying to keep the runtime down for you. So with all of that out of the way, let's praise the Holy God Emperor of Mankind and have some fun. The Baneblade is the premier super heavy tank of the Imperium, conceived of during the Dark Age of technology, and it may be the oldest STC ever recovered by the Mechanicus. Of course, the tech priests of Mars will covet this STC with every steel tentacle at their disposal. I would too. It's only produced on 3 worlds. Mars, Lucius, and Esteban 7. Mars apparently produces the only true Baneblade, all as considered counterfeit because they are slightly larger.
Wait. Is this like the you can't have champagne that wasn't made in Champagne, France? Champagne's in France, right? Is it like that? Wow. Oh, all the other ones, they're knockoffs. They're cheap. You gotta get the proper one.
He produces the only true Baneblade, all as considered counterfeit because they are slightly larger, slightly heavier, and a little bit slower because of the inferior ores that the Forge Worlds actually receive outside of Mars. So rare, so valuable are these massive behemoths that they're typically reserved for regimental commanders as mobile command bases. Given the sheer size and mass of these things, it seems like less of a
So it does make sense for me to have one. Got it, okay.
A tank and more of a mobile battle fortress, a la Bolo. But mankind, and by extension the Imperium of Man, have never been one for subtlety, have they? Most armored regiments are fortunate to have a single Baneblade within their ranks.
Oh, this is cool.
If they're extremely fortunate on a Forge World, they may have a company of 5. But deep in the Imperium's history, there may have been whole divisions of these behemoths. But as time and the Imperium have marched inexorably forward, these numbers have dwindled, turning its premier fighting tank into nothing more than a prestige weapon.
Okay, I have not seen that animation before. That was really cool. Sorry.
These numbers have dwindled, turning its premier fighting tank into nothing more than a prestige weapon. But who knows, in the future, maybe Belisarius Call's got a bunch of these hidden away somewhere, like he did with those 100,000 Space Marines. Moving on, I'm going to try to focus on the Mars pattern specs, only because I don't want this video to become an hour long.
Look at this old...
Most of the pictures were probably going to be the Lucius pattern or other patterns, but there's only so much art to go around. Weighing in at 316 tons, this thing is larger and heavier than any tank ever built today, even during the ridiculousness of the Cold War. Its closest real-world analog would be the Panzerkampfwagen 8 Maus, clocking in at 188 tons, 10.2 meters long, 3.71 meters wide, and 3.63 meters high, with 500 millimeters ground clearance. Now, the Baneblade is thick, 3 C's thick.
Yeah!
With 13.5 meters long, 8.4 meters wide, and 6.3 meters tall. This thing is literally the size of a medium house, and she holds just as many crew to boot, with 10...
I love these diagrams. I love looking at them, because they're so detailed, and I won't sit here and stare at this the whole time, but I think it's so cool.
Be needed to run this thing at maximum efficiency. It's got a ground clearance of 1.2 meters, and on the Lucius pattern, speaking of, what the F is this? Why do you seek to intentionally negate your ground clearance with all this trash along the skirts here? What is going on? Like I said, moving on, this thing moves from 18 to 25 kilometers per hour, and it's powered by a multi-fuel V18 power plant. Again, that will run on remotely anything combustible, probably even salamander piss, really.
Stomp.
Anyways, now I'm not sure if this is lore accurate. Emperor knows I've spent several days searching, but it's rumored during the dark age of technology this thing was a scout tank? I really don't know if that would work, as it's slower than the Imperium's next biggest war machines, the Imperial Knight and Warhound Titan, but unless there's an undiscovered yet STC, I can't see this being the case due to its lack of speed maneuverability. Before you wildly start typing at me in the comments, I searched high and low on Reddit, Lexicanum, 40k Fandom, and 1D4chan. And you know what everyone told me? No one can give me a concrete answer, no one could agree, and 40k lore is more than frustratingly complex at times, and it makes corroborating these claims very difficult. Therefore, it is my opinion at this time, short of any other evidence, that there's no way this could perform the role of a scout tank due to its maximum speed of 25 kilometers per hour and the fact that it's as large as a house. Because
should we check the comment section after this to see what all the people said?
This is what we call in the industry being as stealthy as a boner in a room full of women. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, there are minor variations with the Lucius pattern, mostly being 3.
I don't know if it's just me, but like I'm not looking at people's. No, I don't do that. But I guess I don't know.
Tons heavier and having a slightly larger power pack with added cooling, exhaust, and transmissions to compensate for the added mass. Even though Mars is never really going to allow for side-by-side testing to prove its inferiority or superiority, it's nice to see in the 42nd millennium that export models of tanks are still being potentially degraded to horde industry.
Chat, what does that say? Someone type this in the chat. Someone type that up and tell me what that says. I'm curious. There, that's enough time. We'll continue, but let me know what it is.
Secrets. However, the Baneblade, even the counterfeit ones, their armor is still potent enough to turn away anything except the most dedicated of anti-armor weapons from the Glacius and the flanks at an oblique angle. It's stated even a Tau hammerhead would require 3 precise shots in the same location to pierce its armor. That's not an easy feat by any stretch of the imagination, and requires a very talented gunner.
This.
Now, it's tough to punch even through the Glacius plate or flanks of a tank today. That's why we try not to aim there. We aim for turret rings, the roof, if we've got top attack munitions, or anywhere we can trap a shot or the armor is dead flat.
This is so cool.
Now, packing more firepower than your average South Texas household, the Baneblade comes festooned in weapons. The most obvious being its 10-meter long mega battle cannon. Now, try as I may to find a bore size.
Google says that means suck it, meatbag. There you go. Thank you, thank you.
As for this, no one mentioned it, so I'm going to assume for the sake of this video it's 120 millimeters, same as the battle cannon, but 5 extra meters longer to increase its muzzle velocity, accuracy, penetration power, and range. It's double jacketed, pepper boxed inside with ports to allow for the exhaust gases to be vented in between shots. This surprisingly logical thinking for G-dubs on that one. Must have had an armor enthusiast on the payroll at one time. What happened, G-dubs? The reason I am pointing this out because it's the same reason we have fume extractors on tanks today. It's to suck all those super hot gases out so when we're loading the next round in, it doesn't cook off in our hands. The Mega Battle Cannon fires a 1 meter long spin and fin stabilized rocket propelled ammunition with a solid propellant charge. Beside it is a coax autocannon which ranges for the main gun using tracer rounds. I find this interesting because all the Auspex arrays are in the searchlight and apparently linked to every gun. So I'm assuming the ranging is for when the gun is in degraded mode. Now the main gun is backed up by the massive Demolisher cannon, firing a similar but larger shell with a tandem warhead, comprising both of a fragmentation shell and a shape penetrator inside, utilizing the same principle as the Mega Battle Cannon, but with an effective range of about 1 kilometer. So I'm going to assume someone at G-Dub saw a picture of a Sturmpanzer once and said, hey, you know what that thing needs? More guns. Adding to the already obscene levels of firepower, this thing comes with 2 sponsons with twin-linked heavy bolters, 2 turrets with las cannons on top of those sponsons, and then a bow-mounted twin-linked heavy bolter up front.
We got you more guns for your gun.
This thing packs as much firepower as a veteran squad of Terminators and maneuvers just as well. And as a little aside here, a few comments mentioned that sponsons, there's a reason we kick them off tanks in our own world, but in 40K, they engage hordes and hordes of soft targets, more than a standard coax or a pintle-mounted machine gun requires today, and there's only so much room to put RWS systems on a tank. So making it a little bigger and adding sponsons makes sense within its own universe, which is why I don't tend to pick on it too much, even though it does potentially weaken the armor. Looking inside this thing is absolutely insane. Despite its absolutely massive size, room is at a premium when riding in one, as is typical of most armored fighting vehicles even today. Most space is occupied by ordnance, equipment, and etc., comprising of three, yes, count them, 3 fighting decks, gunnery, command, and the lower deck. Complete with bunk beds, but exactly 0 room for activities.
This house is a fucking prison! I'm playing bullshit!
Well, because if you're going to build a tank the size of a house, why not bring the bedroom with you, right? And the interior resembles less of a battle tank and more of a battleship. Again, given the size, not surprising, but what blows my mind on this is that there are bulkhead doors in between every compartment to reduce the risk of a blowout in case of a hull breach. G-dubs, thinking again. Awesome. But then again, I'm reminded this was built and designed during a time when humanity allegedly had more than an inkling of what they were doing when it came to armor design. The crew is broken up into roughly their own compartments with Vox between them. Pretty standard on any tank. I wouldn't expect it to change anytime in the future. We do the same thing in our vehicles. We all communicate by radio. We compartmentalize all the crew in their own station. Now, given this thing's size, I really am surprised it doesn't possess an ion shield generator a la Imperial Knight to prevent top-down attacks. Or maybe it really does, and no one's got the right litany of awakening to turn it on. And finally, and why you're all here, my conclusion. The Baneblade is the Imperium's wrath and warfighting philosophy made manifest. Slow, massive, inexorable, and overly gunned. But without constant close-in support and air superiority, this thing is a massive, massive target. Yes, in single combat it finds any if few equals. But war is never single combat, even in 40K.
Okay, that's fair.
Well, mostly. But that's negating the exception and not the rule. The Baneblade is too slow, too ungainly for frontline service without the aforementioned support. This vehicle wouldn't even be suited for rear service with quick reaction forces because it can't keep up. Outside of very specialized roles, it really doesn't make a whole lot of sense even within its own universe. But our lives are the Emperor's currency and he will spend it how he wishes in his divine wisdom. It can't keep pace with a Russ, a Chimera, or a Land Raider, and most of its weapons are shorter range. Now, it becomes a liability as it falls behind any advance or slows any advance to a crawl as it putters along at a crisp 18 to 25 kilometers per hour. I really think Call should probably solve this issue, maybe put down his hentai collection and get on this. And with that statement, I'm going to go report to my local commissar for processing into a servitor. Anyway, guys, if you liked my content,
at least,
please like and subscribe,
aware.
leave me a comment down below, and with that, I will see you on the next one.
Yeah. Emperor's Wisdom. Yeah, I think big tanks are just cool. Yeah. Can confirm. They are very cool. They're very cool. Okay. We have an ad starting in 5 minutes. Okay, okay, let's see. We have... So this is the video I ended up going with over the Blood Angels one, even though that did just like come out. This one is by a new associate of mine. I don't know if we're friends yet. We gotta play Speed Freaks. Speed Freaks, but this is Gaijin Goomba. This is his Orky Boy channel. And I was like, oh, he's talking about the Eric 11th edition. It's like new stuff. I want to watch his Blood Angel one, but you guys should go watch it because it's new and I don't want to take all his stuff. You guys should just watch it first.
Alright, Runs, sit down.
Was the volume good there? We'll stop partway through because I know ads are coming up, or maybe we'll snooze the ads. I do have to get water at some point, but I want to hear this guy's opinion because he's like, orcs are his entire personality now.
Hey, you kids! Alright, Runs, sit down and shut your gob.
We got a lot to talk about with this new edition of the big game coming in. More... 2 months! And all Gork's Wisdom's been announcing Orky Legend after Orky...
Less than 2 months now. 2 weeks. Pre-order, get your pre-order.
Legend, making their return to Armageddon alongside the Prophet of Gork and Mook themselves, Gay School Mega Fucker. We got both Snickrot, the sneakiest, stabbiest git coming back. We got Urlock Glitztooth coming back too, though I hear Daze is a terrible Bad Moon boss. But that's okay, cause the biggest, baddest, flashiest Bad Moon's boss to ever boss the boys is back too. Nazdrag Oog Oog A war boss? No. A warlord. So cunning, killy, and flashy that they've been around since the 2nd edition of the big game. Longer than even Gay School. But even the flashiest warlord is getting outshined by the most legendary, the most mysterious mech to ever hold a spanner. The inventor of Orky teleporter technology, Orchimedes.
Ooh.
Up to...
Can I just say, I am impressed with how he is doing this whole video in the voice.
Now, not even the orcs knows that much about the Mad Mech, but between them and the brilliant deductions of Nazdrag, War Gay School got the biggest teleporter thing in all of Orkdom. The Mega Tele-Shocker Portal! It's like a shock attack gun, but instead of shooting snotlings, usually shooting giant fleets of kill cruisers wherever they need to go. And so me, we also sees the return of the fastest dead-hard boss on 2 wheels.
That mini is so cool. It makes me want to paint orcs. It's so cool.
Warstucker Gunsmith! And this boy, this boy. This lad deserves their own video with all the insane killer things that they did. And maybe next time Mars is gonna do that. However, this video, we need to talk about the other great orc legend that spans all the kids that calls themselves green. And you might be shocked to find out that they ain't no orc, but a Humi. But not just any Humi, lads.
The Humi.
This is Commissar Yerrick, old Baeloi, and the Crowd of Gay School themselves. And with their return to the big game alongside Warstalker, I think it's only fitting that I tell you once all about this great Humi boss. A Humi boss so great it puts all the beakies to shame. So sit down and open your lungs. Noted. Old Baelor came out of their crawl hole onto a planet called Taros 3, and apparently did...
I've never heard it described like that, and I never want to hear it that way ever again.
2 runners died when they was just a youth. But unlike these lazy, stupid youths of today, one of Baelor's older runners taught the little kid all the good things in life. Like how to fight proper, and use sneaky cunning to fight better. Good thing too, cause it wasn't too long before the boys started a big scrap on Baelor's home planet. Now, most humans would either run away scared or hide behind a big gun, thinking that's gonna make them kill you as an orc. But old Baelor, no. Even as a youth, this kid was acting like a regular blood axe. Sneaking around, boys, crumpet the sulk of the crods. I mean, blood axes is sneaky little annoying kids, but for a Humi youth, that's pretty tough and orky right there. Eventually, the big Humi the Humi boys showed up on the planet to give the boys a much better fight. And all the while, old Baelor went to some Humi learning shack, where they went from being a youth to a boss. See, most Humis that go to this education place learns how to make Humis more scared of them than whatever it is that they is fighting. But
that is true.
Baelor, no. See, they just smart. They learned important things, like learning how to speak proper orc. And they learned how the boys like to fight, how they like to think, and best of all, how to give boys a proper scrap. And old Baelor got so good at doing orky thinking that they's got some mob of Humis of their own to be the boss of. Them steely boys. Humi boys that knows how to fight orky boys right. Now, after all that, old Baylor thought the days was just gonna stop being great and just kinda give up and, I don't know, do nothing. I swear, you get this concept of retirement is right naff. But instead, Gaskell brought the first great war.
No one ever retires as an orc. They just don't do that. Unheard of. Brandy, thank you so much for giving a gift sub. And finally, Orc's logic making sense of 40k. I really like how this video's written. It's really clever. I like it a lot.
To the planet, and it was here where old Baylor became a legend. See, he knew how dead-eyed and killy Orcsies is, but at that time, Baylor was just the lower boss to some stupid fat Yumi what wasn't worth nothing, saying that boys was nothing to worry about. We showed them. Properly understanding that this boss was just a fat git, old Baylor instead brought one sulky good fight to Gaskell's boys at the Yumi town of 580s. And what a fight it was! It was so good that Yarrick was beaten to boys proper. So Gaskell sent a snakebite boss called Ugelhard to finish off old Baylor personally. But
it did not work.
Old Ugelhard didn't realize that this was Yarrick. The snakebite boss got a lucky clamp down with their power claw, cutting off Yarrick's right arm. But unlike other humans that would crumple up and cry and piss themselves, Yarrick picked up their chain chopper and sliced off Ugelhard's head with a single chop. Then, chopping off the snakebite's power claw, lifting it up for all the boys to see. And that is when this old Yumi became the legend.
Yep.
Old Baylor. Cause then,
very based and
then
cool.
old Baylor had Ugelhard's power claw mounted to their arm. And you'd think that this year old Yumi scrawny boy wouldn't be able to even lift an Orky power claw. But no, see, this ain't no regular Yumi.
He's not.
He's old Baylor. And not only did they have Ugelhard's claw to remind the boys of who they was messing with, but this was when old Baylor got their Bale Eye. An eye with the power to shoot a deadly killy beam, killing any boy with a single look. And in the other hand, holding a shooter so big and full of talker that only beakies could carry him. But this wasn't any other Yumi, no, this was old Bale Eye. And even though Yarrick didn't need nothing else to make the boys piss themselves in fear, old Bale Eye got her own personalized Yumi battle weapon, complete with 11 barrels of the hardest hit Yumi talker that any boy would ever see again. And he was more be thinking that old Bale Eye would have their boys fight like regular Yumis, right? Like any other commissar, lieutenant, whatever the Yumi words for bosses is. I know Bloodaxe. But no, this is old Bale Eye. When Gaskell sent out a wave of bombers so big it turned the sky black, Yarrick knew that they didn't have enough flocker-docker to bring down all the bombers. So instead, he told all his big guns and artillery and such to point straight up into the sky and fire. And sure enough, this very orky tactic boom smashed every old bomb in the sky. Then there was that time a bunch of mechs made the biggest, clunkiest, smashiest, shootiest gargant they could make, fitted with a giant drill that would be able to drill their way all the way into Hive Hades center. But Bale Eye, being the cunning sort, knew the orcs would do this, so they blew up a big hole underneath the gargant and sank into the dirt. I can't even be mad at that. It was this kind of proper orky tactical thinking that made him beat out Gaskell every single time. And Gaskell said that they had to go, something about going to some humid planet called Golgotha, so they decided to take off. But I think we all know that Yarrick had him dead to rights. But anyway, Yarrick, being the great crow that he is, went after Gaskell as soon as they left. But for as orky as old Bale Eye is, he can never be as orky as the Warlord of Warlords. Gaskell set a trap and smashed Yarrick's forces and imprisoned the Yumi legend. But like the good sport that Gaskell is, they let Yarrick go so he could go back to Armageddon and get ready for an even bigger,
like, I wanna keep fighting you, bro.
and greener war that Gaskell was gonna bring. Dust kicks off the third big scrap on Armageddon, with old Bear Eye only having 2 weeks to get ready for the Prophet's return. And he wasn't ready for what Gaskell had cooking up. Between all the boys that got teleported in, thanks to Nazdrag and Archimedes, as well as all the rocks that was dropping in from the sky, full of talking boys, Jarek was surprised.
I love the rocks. I think they're hilarious. Like, I just love the concept that they're just gonna crash down, and maybe the orcs will survive. Maybe they won't. And good to see you, Fareez. Good to see you. I'm glad you found me from YouTube, and I'm glad you're here.
To say the least. But that boss of a Yumi lived up to his legend and gave Gaskell another great scrap. And once again, Gaskell said to take on board and then left, with their crowd all Belai right behind him. Then sometime after that, the Yumis did something stupid because of course they did.
Yep.
They told a bunch of other Yumi bosses that Jarek, old Belai, was dead. Except no one knew how he died, so, you know, Yumis believed it anyway because the Yumi said so. So kind of logical, all these Yumis. How can something be dead if nobody saw it die or know how they died? Well, that's Yumis for you. But to everybody's happy surprise, as recent events has transpired, old Belai was not dead. He apparently got together with them Black Cross beakies and gave chase, just like a good crowd should. Eventually, old Belai, and the beakies I guess, found Gaskell on the planet of Aurelia, and true to his legend, the two of them faced each other in another titanic showdown. But unlike every other time, it was Gaskell that won, crushing Yarek's bones and headbutting him to the ground hard. But rather than outright kill Jarek, they left him on the ground all broken up and smashed, but not dead. I guess that's why all the Yumis thought that old Belai got crumped. But no.
I would think so
Some
too.
wolf beakies grabbed Jarek and, I don't know, rebuilt him, I guess. I mean, it worked for Gaskell that one time this Hogan wolf beakies wouldn't mind their own token business and stay out of the grudge between Gaskell and old Belai.
I didn't know that.
Now, beaky
About
fans,
Jarek.
I don't really care how soaking amazing you think this stupid non-beaky was. It wasn't right that this kid should be killing, let alone fighting to profit. That right belongs to old Belai. And as God's wisdom promised, come the new edition of the big game, we's gonna see these two great Orky legends clash one more time, with old Belai getting even more killy abilities, weapons and such, and Wallstucker Gutsmech leading the charge as the Speed Freaks make their way first onto the big fight Armageddon. I mean, they is the fastest Ork there is. And again, we probably should give Wallstucker their own video, but for now, that was the story of the Ork legend, old Belai, the orkiest Yumi that ever lived. Big thanks to all the boys, bosses, and knobs for giving us your teeth so we can keep making the orkiest videos onto YouTube. And stay tuned for even more stories, strategies for the big game, and of course, more Is It Orkies. But until next time, boys, sub up and sog off!
Good video. Good video. Honestly, I hadn't seen any of his orc videos. I like that he does it like this. It's very cool. It's very cool. Aw, man. I think we snoozed the ad. It was just a... Man. Okay, well, I have to get water. Chat. I'm gonna be honest. It's not because of the content. I feel like I'm gonna fall asleep at my desk. And, like, I don't want to get another Mountain Dew, but, like, I might fall asleep at my desk, man. Because we have more videos I want to watch. Like, I've only been streamed for 2 hours. I should not be this tired. Because I at least wanted to watch these two. This one was, like, a joke video that I thought might be funny. Because this one is Arthur talking about Sisters of Battle Order. And then this one I thought was interesting. I created a Gene Stealer cult in RimWorld. I played a little bit of RimWorld, and I'm like kind of curious. Yeah, this orc right here, this guy. I love Mountain Dew. Kindred spirit. So should I get a Mountain Dew? Oh, I guess that's the only option. Get a Mountain Dew or fall asleep at my desk, but that one's not gonna happen. I'm just gonna be tired. Okay, the ad is, well, the ad starts here. We'll talk until the ad comes up. We'll talk until the ad comes up because there's no point starting anything. I don't think so. Oh, quick power nap during the ad. Take 5 and walk around. Well, I'll take 3. I'll go to the bathroom, get my water, and grab a dew. It came out of nowhere. I was fine earlier. You getting psyched for Jeopardy? It's inevitable. So yes, Possum. I'm excited. Except the last time I did like a 40K themed game show, I got thrashed because I am, how do you put it? I'm more focused on the story and the plot rather than little lore facts. So, yeah. Like, you want to know something embarrassing? The game show that I was on was hosted by 40K Theories, Remlays. He has it on his channel. And do you want to know how embarrassing I performed? I mean, I got last place, but considering I'm new to the hobby, not a bad thing. But do you want to know how bad it was? I blanked out on Yarek's first name. That was like an easy peasy question. And like in the moment, I froze and I forgot his first name. So I'm just nervous. Easy, commissar. You know it's not. He has a first name, he does. Sebastian. I don't know his first name. Oh, you're making me feel better. Dude, because I was surrounded by basically, like, Giga Chads that know everything about Warhammer lore. It's no big deal at all because, honestly, you'll never get as thrashed as Pancreas did. How do you get negative 9,000 points? Is it because he, at the very end, he gambled it all? But wait. How... You can't get negative money. You can only gamble what you have, right? Huh? He got negative money. Ah, he's in debt. Okay, cool, all right. You know, at least, we can work with that. We can work with that. On Jeopardy, you can. I have not watched Jeopardy in a long time. Okay, ad starts in 20 seconds. Then I'm gonna walk, get some water and a dew. And not fall asleep. He sent me 6 messages. Yeah, that sounds about right. Don't worry, I won't do that to you. I won't do that to you. I'm very polite. I try to be. See, I wouldn't say anything like that, but the only way that you get that out of me is if I really know you. Okay. I'm gonna stay zoomed in. I'll be back with water and a dew. You'll do fine, perfectly fine. Your optimism is refreshing, but I doubt that. I'll be back. Okay. I have returned. Kind of just in time. Okay, I have a code red sitting on my desk. I'm not going to open it unless it's like an absolute necessity. This is the plan. Okay, how's everyone doing? We all still awake? No, just me. I'm the only one. All right. Okay. Sister of Battle or Gene Stealer Colt? Which ones do we want to do next? Are we still in the ads? I thought we were back from the ads. I don't think an ad hit. No, it said there were ads. That's weird. Okay, sorry. Okay, sorry. It said there was an ad coming, so I don't know why it didn't. Yeah, I thought there were ads. They are done. Oh, cool. My ad was really short. Oh, okay. Okay, alright. Well, never mind then. Alright, we'll do sisters. I see 2 Gene Stealers. Yeah, I guess the weird scenario. There were no ads. Well, my bad. I got back here quickly. Alright, we'll just go in order. We'll get to watch both of these before maybe I pass out.
Special thanks to Starforged for sponsoring this video. Special thanks to Starforged for sponsoring this video. Hi, I'm Arthur, and it's time for me to finally talk a bit more about the Sisters of Battle.
Yes.
I'm weirdly enough surprised that I haven't even brought them up once on my channel, except for like maybe a YouTube short.
This is from a couple years ago. Should clarify.
Or two. So I'm just gonna dangle a sororitas video over you guys like you're some kind of homeless dog and it's a fine ribeye steak. I promise I'll draw more content on specific factions involving them in the future. I just kind of wanted to cover Sisters of Battle and, you know, see where it goes from there. I got a few other factions that I want to do these kinds of faction compilation videos for because I do have a lot of fun researching them as well as making them. So yeah, we're just gonna cover the sisters now and then maybe next time we'll do Custodies or maybe something else. If you guys want to see a specific one, just let me know in the comments. So to get into it, let's talk about the basics, as I haven't covered the sisters on this channel in the past. They are such a fun faction as they represent the weirder hypocrisies of the Imperium of Mankind in such a way that's just neato. So the short version is they are the chamber militant to the Ordo Hereticus branch of the Inquisition, which basically means that they are the religious attack dogs of the inquisitorial staff in charge of maintaining a clean bill of religious health for the Imperium. How this happened was a long story, and I do want to make an entire video covering this section of time known as the Reign of Blood, but basically there was an almost 100 years stretch of time where a corrupt administratum member basically launched a coup and lied, cheated, and stole his way into becoming more or less the emperor of the Imperium for a bit, destroying every single person that would be in his way of governing the entirety of the Imperium of Mankind. He was corrupt as hell, and a non-chaos corrupted individual as well. He tricked the Sisters of Battle, or as they were referred to then, the Daughters of the Emperor, into becoming his personal bodyguard by the name of the Wives of the Emperor. This led to a bloody civil war, where on the side of Gojay Van Dyer, there was the Wives of the Emperor.
I like how all the memes have, Doge. It's perfect.
The Imperial Guard, or at least most of them, as well as a bunch of other fanatical religious Templari types, versus a legit, probably blessed by the Emperor priest who was backed by his own fanatical army as well as the Space Marines. The war basically ended when the Custodies, coming out of the throne room to speak with the Wives of the Emperor, guided a set few of these individuals into the throne room to meet the Emperor. It's never fully explained what happened, but whatever happened in there there led
They're
them
like,
to being so
"Whoa."
pissed off, they came out, killed Gojay, and stopped the Civil War immediately. This
need
led to
to be
them being
barefooted.
incorporated into the Inquisition because technically the cult of the Emperor and all other religious affiliates were no longer allowed to amass any level of military might. So this is a bit of a loophole, since the now renamed Sisters of Battle are technically warriors of the church, but they serve the Inquisition, so I guess it kind of works out. The Sisters
Yeah,
of
it works. It's
Battle
fine. Don't
are
think
a
about it too
military
much.
group of individuals selectively chosen and possibly bred to be incredibly pious
Oh.
warrior women who might in fact be psychically inclined, but don't.
I would like to know more specifically about the bread part, because I've not heard that bit before.
Don't actually say that, they will kill you. They are known to be completely filled by ranks of power armor-clad warriors who use bolt guns. They are essentially the female response to the existence of the male-occupied Space Marines, though their lore was radically different in order to provide a response to any inaccuracies that could come from gene seed interactions with female genetic code, as this ends with them just being completely human. But regardless, they are incredibly pious
They're
individuals with an obsession with bolt guns, fire-based weapons such as flamers, and melta-weapons, which in general makes them a relatively strong fighting force, but due to the collective unconscious zeal they all feel, they actually all can cause psychic phenomena to appear due to their religious fervor. There is a bit more to it, as there is some interesting things that comes into it. Like, a lot of the living saints and the saint-like abilities that occurred are probably because of a collective belief in saints, and that they feel, especially during times
I
of
think
need,
that's
an
super cool,
intense
though.
desire. This can cause phenomena to manifest. Like, Celestine usually only appears when there is a lot of Sisters of Battle in need and there is a lot of prayers being sent up. So realistically,
that's
she's
cool.
probably a psychically created construct similar to that of, like, I don't want to say a demon, but like a demon. The Sisters are divided up into 6 major orders, and there are a bunch of smaller, lesser known orders, but we will only be covering the major orders
These are
today.
cool.
The first thing to note before getting into the orders is there is technically 2 convents: the Convent Prioris, which is the convent of Sisters that is located on Terra, and the Convent Sanctorum. There isn't really any major difference between the two. It's just that both of them house 3 individual sets of the major orders, and they were basically placed on different locations. So the Convent Prioris is on Terra, and the Convent Sanctorum is on Ophelia 7, which was the birthplace of the Daughters of the Emperor. We will cover the Convent Sanctorum first, and then the Convent Prioris second. Not for any other reason other than I just had a reason to kind of order this out, and it made more sense to start this way. You'll understand the second we get into the list. So starting off, we will get the main one out of the way. But before we get into it, I'd like to have a brief word from our sponsor. Starforged is back at it again. Longtime friends to the channel, Starforged are here to let me show you these fine dandies, the 40K chapter baseball caps. Fun fact, most of you would not like to acknowledge, but I shave my head pretty regularly, and in the heat of this summer, I definitely need a hat to not come home with the top of my head looking like Larry the Lobster. And with the Black Templar hat, I can do this not just in style, but also making every Xenos player in the vicinity incredibly uncomfortable, which is what we all want, right?
Good, yes.
Using my link in the description or pinned comment, you can get yourself your own hat for one of your favorite chapters,
Yeah, they still
or
make
even
them,
the
I think.
Inquisition at a discounted price, as well as support the channel.
I have
The
a
hats
Blood Angels
themselves
one.
are already pretty low in cost, so it's pretty much a steal. So use my link to buy them at a discount, and thanks again to Starforged for sponsoring this video. The Order of the Martyred Lady. Originally going by the name the Order of the Fiery Heart, the Order of the Martyred Lady is the most well-known out of all the orders of the Sisters of Battle. You've seen them before. Basically, they're the SOB equivalent of the Ultramarines, where they are likely going to be seen on all the packages of all the miniatures, except for like maybe Morven Val. And it's likely due to them having an easily recognizable paint scheme with black, red, and white, as well as just being in most of the fiction. They are not boring by any stretch. If it sounds like I'm painting
No, they're
them
not
as such,
boring.
They are just the poster child of the faction. Their story is one of sacrifice, as their original founding Canoness Superior, which is the leader of any order of sisters, was Saint Catherine. Yes, that one, who led the Order of the Fiery Heart on a massive war front in order to purify the galaxy. A war of faiths was declared, and she would prosecute this bloody war till the end. It ended with her death, of course, and at the hand of a heretic, no less, which it led to the sisters adopting an entirely black armor scheme as a way to mourn. But not in a way of channeling their grief into sadness, more as them channeling their grief into a retributive rage. Only when they felt their vengeance was prosecuted did they add the red and the white elements to their design, which I think really makes their paint scheme mean a lot more in the long run than just,
I didn't know that
oh,
bit.
hey, it's kind of funny that the Ultramarines are ultramarine blue and they're also the Ultramarines. This is when they also took on the name of the Martyred Lady as a way to be a bit more reverential to St. Catherine. The Order of the Martyred Lady is not only the most well-known in regards of the miniatures, but they are also the most numerous of all the orders in the setting, being distributed all throughout the universe in such a way that means if you see a Sister of Battle, then you know it's probably them. In terms of mental instability, they are relatively the standard expectation of Sisters of Battle.
I didn't know we were ranking mental stability. This is new.
We're going to find out there is a spectrum of unstable when it comes to the most religious members of the Imperium of Mankind. I refer to this as the scaring the hose scale of mental instability, where at the lowest you have 1, where you have the Ultramarines. They are pragmatic, not really that religious, and they're not too overly emotional, so you could probably have a great conversation with them. And then on the 10 out of 10 side of the scale, you'd have a penitent engine, which is basically just a gibbering, babbling maniac who has chemicals pumped into their brain to literally
All right, chat. Where am I on the scale? Where am I on this scale? Cause I love this scale. I think it's funny. Yes, just yes. 3, 5. No, see, I don't think the Black Templars are a 10 because Sisters of Battle are just scarier. 5, but once you start talking about Sangi, it goes up to goes up 3 more, so 8, 6. I'm not saying that one. 6. Someone said 6, or maybe 7, 4, 3. You're right. This is wait, this is very similar to the hot crazy matrix. Every woman is at least a 4. Because this is the crazy scale. So I'm at least a 4. You're right. What am I thinking?
See God at all times and then be afraid of him. So with the majority of the Sisters of Battle somewhere ranking between 6 and 7, you kind of have some issues the second you get over 5, because normal ass conversation tends to be a bit difficult because they tend to just circle back to their hyperfixation, which is usually the Emperor. But the Order of the Martyred Lady is usually a solid 6 most of the time, as their entire shtick as a group is that they're pretty much the most disciplined out of all of them, with some exceptions, of course. But they are one of the more kind groups of the sisters. Their form of combat that they prefer is actually grindy attritional warfare, as their entire combat doctrine is based around them not really caring about their own lives. They believe that to be a martyr is one of the most important aspects of being a member of.
It makes sense. They're the Order of the Martyred Lady. So, you know, they want to be like her.
The Imperium. So as long as you sacrifice yourself for the sake of a noble cause, then you are seen as a perfect member of the Order of the Martyred Lady. I think that's really cool. And I think that they are one of the most popular factions in the Sisters of Battle as possible. I think they are a fun addition, and it's also really interesting that that crowd of individuals who tend to like unstable buff women, you know, that's a trope that exists in 40K.
I don't know who this is, but this is clearly a jab.
To like unstable buff women, you know, that's a trope that exists in 40K quite a lot. I'm not going to name names, but if you know, you know. But they tend to be the ones that people gravitate to the most. They're just the most marketable and the ones that people tend to like. I mean, personally, I think that shit's weak sauce. It's going to take a lot more than that to honestly impress me. Bark. The Order of the Bloody Rose. Okay, so these might appeal to me on some spiritual level. If you know me, you know I have a certain weakness for violent, crazy, and situationally menacing, also red. So the Order of the Bloody Rose hits me in all the right places, and I have to say they are my favorite of all the orders of the Sisters of Battle. But they are probably the one order you do not want to actually encounter ever. To give you a rundown, let's consult the Scaring the Hose scale of mental instability. And oh fuck. Yeah, they are trained from acceptance into the order to not be silent about anything, but to channel their divine beliefs into an all.
I mean, women aren't generally silent anyways, so they just said, here's a pass for life. No wonder it's a 10.
All-consuming whirlwind of hatred and rage. Hey, did you guys know the Order of the Bloody Rose have their own version of Saint Celestine? Yeah, it's pretty wild they do, but it's more like possession
crazy
by an unholy demon than anything else. It's this really weird state of mid-battle fervor where during a bloody melee, one of their best fighters can become possessed by some supernatural rage that causes them to get so angry they radiate a heat shimmer, and also that they begin to cry tears of blood while also becoming so powerful that they can go toe-to-toe with a goddamn Chaos Champion if need be.
Shit.
Man, that is wild and probably has nothing to do with Khorne, albeit these sisters are incredibly good at killing the shit out of chaos-corrupted individuals.
Dang.
So do with this information what you will. You might be asking this question, which I tend to ask in my deepest, darkest nights, my loneliest moments to myself, but why? Well, for one, their order's founder was apparently a violent and crazy psychopath with a long-standing history of being the greatest melee combatant in the history of the Sisters of Battle, which makes sense.
Yeah.
She even has a rumor attached to her where she allegedly fought toe-to-toe with a custodian to a standstill, which is incredibly impressive. Now, I'm not one to make judgment.
No way. No way. No, I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
Calls if lore is confirmed or not, or if it's just a myth that's been propagated
Has to be a myth.
in the Imperium. But Cap, she was supposedly ambushed on a planet during a prayer session and slaughtered the majority of the people who came to kill her before she fell to her wounds. This was sort of a sanguinary cult, as it was described, a group of Khorne berserkers that were obsessed with blood. I like to imagine that what went down was similar to that of like the Punisher prison fight scene. So this legacy of martial superiority and hate has basically
Or if you're aware of Andrew Jackson, one of the US presidents, there was one time a guy tried to end him, and well, as it turns out, that guy was very unlucky. His guns jammed, and then Andrew Jackson proceeded to beat the crap out of him with his cane. I don't think the guy died, but he was beaten within an inch of his life. And honestly, I think that's hilarious. Like, you know, you say whatever you want about the man's policies, but that was pretty funny. He's crazy. I've seen a meme. Andrew Jackson's bodyguards aren't there to protect him. They're here to protect you from him. Yeah, no, dude, look into Andrew Jackson. He has been in so many duels. He had this one guy that he beefed with all the time. Straight up got shot. This is like their last duel. He got shot by the guy and then proceeded, you know, he took the bullet and then he shot and killed the other guy. Wild. Wild, man.
From that day forward, in her order, you could probably piece together what the Bloody Rose sisters prefer, and that's melee combat, and they're pretty damn good at it, actually. Instead of mindful meditation, they prefer good old cathartic rage and beating the living shit out of anybody who's pissed them off. They don't prefer turning the other cheek and hoping the sinner just dies at some point. They prefer good old retribution, because bastards need punishing, don't you know? Outside of all that, they just like killing chaos and are well known for messing up quite a few Slaaneshi cults from time to time.
I've seen a lot of Repentia outfits in my day. I've never seen one quite like this. Ma'am, that's just a parchment.
Which also probably does not help the corn accusations, but hey, let's, next. The Order of the Valorous Heart. On the relative opposite end of the spectrum, you have the Order of the Valorous Heart. Still maintaining a strong air of martial superiority, this order is founded upon the basic principles of stoicism and silence. Also, guilt and shame. They believe that life is pain and there is only different gradations of it, emotional, physical, and the severities therein. You gotta carry the weight, you know? So, how they tend to fight is once again based off of their Saint Lucius, who was the founding matriarch. How her story goes is she was allegedly an incredibly level-headed individual. This sort of anvil to St. Catherine's hammer. It's kind of this dichotomy that was summarized as being one needed the other to make sure that they had an even temperament. She was captured by a cult that wanted her to renounce the God Emperor as actually being a god. They tortured her for months and told her that the pain would stop if she renounced it. Even so, she allegedly never did, though the cult itself came out and said that she died an ignoble death and actually did renounce her religion. But turns out, after years of prosecuting a holy war, the order that she left behind decided to find this entire cult and kill them in as violent a way as humanly possible, and yeah, they did, and it turns out they were lying just to kind of destroy the morale of others. But the level-headed ideas of the Valorous Heart led to them realizing that it was complete and total falsehoods in order to break the backs of the Imperium. I think that's very interesting that their entire doctrine in combat is based around pain, suffering, and being able to weather the storm. It translates into the guilt and shame aspect that I mentioned earlier, where they feel guilt and they feel shame because of their participation in the Reign of Blood, which is Goje Vandire's reign over the Imperium. All of the Sisters of Battle feel this to some degree, though some are a little bit more resolute than others, but the Valorous Heart believes that they can never truly be wiped clean of this stain and they need to work in order to be better as people. So they feel pain as sort of an act of self-flagellation, so they throw themselves into the most dangerous combats they possibly can in order to enact this sort of self-flagellation. This also leads to one of the weirder side effects of this group being that they have a lot of Sisters Repentia. Sisters Repentia are Sisters of Battle who believe that they have sinned too much and they need to be absolved of it in holy combat, removing their holy armor and being equipped with a holy weapon known as an eviscerator. The Sisters of the Repentia throw themselves just headlong into melee, and from there, if they survive, they're allowed to wear the armor once again, and if they don't, well, they die doing something that they loved, which is murder. This guilt is pretty pervasive. It's a very Catholic guilt-inspired faction, and I think that's a very interesting angle to go about them, with the deeply dark armor and the sort of funerary march aesthetic to them. On the instability scale, they're actually pretty high, which you wouldn't think, but it's because they're a bunch of self-flagellating stoics who don't believe in basically anything other than proving that vindication is the only thing that really matters in life. There isn't much else to say about about them, and I think they're pretty average. They're not my favorite, they're not the one I like the least, but they can be a little boring at times. The Order of the Sacred Rose. These last three major orders are a bit weird, as they are some of the more significant ones, but they kind of have the least amount of lore, with an exception for the Ebon Chalice, of course. But before we talk about the Ebon Chalice, we do have to cover the Sacred Rose. Why? Because I just ordered them that way in my script, and it's my video, so I have to follow the set pattern set forth.
We have to
I
listen to you.
Cry? I don't know. The Order of the Sacred Rose is kind of the sister order to the Order of the Bloody Rose, as they were two orders that sort of arose after the initial founding of the first four orders. They aren't too similar, though. They're actually quite opposed to each other. The Order of the Sacred Rose is an order propped up on the key theme of kindness, faith, and altruism, as well as
sounds like my
communication,
vibe.
which for an army of the Imperium is not exactly normal. The Order of the Sacred Rose is a bunch of white armor-clad individuals who, of the entirety of the orders present, have the strongest faith and dedication to the Imperial cult. They are literally the most pious in the least weird way. There's no major amounts of self-flagellation, they just seek to preach the gospel to all who will listen above all other duties. Though don't think that means they are weak as a faction, hell no. They actually are the most generally good of all the sisters. With no specialization, they just are good at everything, to a nominal amount. There's not an emphasis on being elite, or good at melee, or good at range. They just can do it all with a specialization of obsessing over their own faith. The living saint and founding member of their order is Saint Arabella, and she was said to have been so faithful that she could make a heretic explode if she just looked at them and had the right state of religious fervor about her, which is, again, probably not true, but don't let the truth get in the way of a good yarn, right? The sisters of this order specialize in, weirdly enough, rallying the people to their cause. As they themselves are generalists, they have a special ability in terms of oratory skill, where they can convince people whom are not exactly the most pious of individuals to fight on their side as if they were the most obsessed zealots possible. So the thing that they tend to bring to different war zones is actually small bands of non-Sisters of Battle that fight alongside them. And these small bands, well, I use small as kind of a catch-all, but it's not really small. A lot of the times they're actually kind of massive groups of fanatical guardsmen and battle priests that follow them to most war zones. It's kind of cool to know that if you were to run these individuals on the tabletop and have them be lore accurate, you would actually run like Imperial cultists, similar to that of like Chaos cultists on the board with them. And
yes, that's right. I remember seeing these minis.
Of sisters rather than just the kind of normal army that you have here. I like the stark white armor to indicate their level of purity, and as far as kindness goes, these individuals are pretty low on the instability scale. They are actually able to carry a conversation and be rather reasonable, and they even will probably make your day better just by its inclusion. They are one of the most well-respected of the orders of the Sisters of Battle, for a reason. With the white rose being their symbol, it's nice that their stoic yet friendly temperament is indicated by their symbol, which is also in contrast to the Order of the Bloody Rose, who are especially violent to most people.
I do think they are my favorite amongst all the sisters.
The Order of the Ebon Chalice. This one is wild, because in theory, this should be the most well-known of all the orders of the sisters. Like, the Order of the Ebon Chalice should be the poster child for the sisters, not the Order of the Martyred Lady. For context, their founding saint is Alicia Dominica, who was the person who invented the Sisters of Battle orders as a whole. The Ebon Chalice was her specific order, and because of that, there is a long-lasting legacy of greatness that pervades their entire order. What do I mean? The Ebon Chalice has an odd specialization, and that is that they are the most elite of the Sisters of Battle. The level of training that you need to go through for them to take you in and accept you as a full-fledged Sister of Battle is actually a lot higher in terms of requirements than that of the other orders. It's why they also have the smallest number of sisters as compared to other orders, but they also have the smallest amount of losses due to the amount of highly skilled individuals they have, which is why they have the largest rank of Celestians, which are essentially the higher.
Their shields look like coffins.
ranking version of your typical battle sister, that they attain this rank before they go into an actual, like, named position, like a palatine or a dialogus or something like that. They just generally have access to better gear and shit. The best way to see the Order of the Ebon Chalice is they are on the opposite end of the spectrum as the Sacred Rose, where instead of having a bunch of lesser fellas in the midst, they only take the best of the best of the best. Having the best in almost every tactic, they are usually the ones who you want to see touch down with you as you get into some kind of fight of any kind.
Yeah, it would be like I would want to see Terminators get dropped down with me when I'm about to go have a fight. Yes, I would love to see Terminators.
Actually claimed that the higher ranks of the Ebon Chalice are told some of the things that the Emperor said to Alicia before she cut the head off of Goje Vandire. And speaking of, one of the relics they actually field in the game as well as in lore is the sword that Alicia actually used in order to kill Vandire, which is pretty cool. Other than everything I've said, there isn't much else I can add. So yeah, they're just the elite sisters of battle. The Order of the Argent Shroud. Okay, last one, so let's wrap this shit up so I can go lie down in the woods for a little bit. The Order of the Argent Shroud is pretty interesting, as they are an incredibly religiously reckless faction of the Sisters of Battle. Basically, their whole gimmick is they believe in the sort of Deus Vult mentality where they throw themselves face first into the biggest ranks of enemies and just kind of assume it's going to work itself out at some point. It's actually not a joke. They legit don't listen to the idea of tactics because they think that shit's for atheists and dead men, which in their eyes are kind of the same thing. They are literally shock troops for the Sisters of Battle, with an interesting perspective on death and dying, where death is seen as kind of a good thing and greeted with silence. It is the end of a thankless burden that they see peace in. They love using jump packs and field a shitload of Seraphim and Zephyrim, and their name actually comes from the fact that their living saint was actually killed relatively early into their life, with their body being on display for all to see, but one day the body ended up disappearing from the covering that it was hidden under. Underneath the veil that was covering the individual's skeletal face was the imprint of a skull on this shroud, and thus where the name, the Order of the Argent Shroud, came from. I don't remember who, but I heard a few people refer to these individuals as Raven Guard if they were Sisters of Battle, which is just incorrect. They just like jump packs, and that's literally the only similarity.
Yeah, jump packs.
They
are
are
the same
also
thing.
one of the more unfortunate individuals that ended up having to deal with the Great Rift opening directly in their face. Yeah, most of the Sisters of the Order of the Argent Shroud are kind of stuck in permanent demon warfare, as they were relatively close to the openings where the Cicatrix Maledictum ended up opening. Now, you'd think that would mean that they suffer a prolonged and agonizing death, but you'd be surprised, because apparently that strong aura shit of them basically going fuck it, we ball all the time, it kinda is actually working out for their benefit, because I mean, they're kind of unpredictable at that point, right? Man, they're still in fact kicking around, somehow. Which, we can only hope to attain that level of locking in at some point and getting your shit done, right? And that was everything.
Oh, I like this armor.
The 6 major orders of the Sisters of Battle, which is nice. There are a bunch of smaller orders, and if you want me to cover them, then let me know in the comments down below. I might do an even deeper dive into the Sisters of Battle at some point, but I think this will suffice for now. I got some big shit on the way, boys, and I hope you all can appreciate that. Let me know in the comments what you want to see next for one of these sub-faction breakdown videos, and I'll keep my ear to the ground for it because I do have a few that I want to cover. Also, remember to like and subscribe as it helps the channel immensely. Special thanks to my channel members for supporting me, and if you want to support me as well as gain access to additional and early content, then feel free to become a channel member today. Thank you all for watching, and once again, before I go, I got one piece of information in this entire video intentionally wrong, and if you figure it out, I'll pin the first person who finds its comment. Good
I don't see a pinned comment. That's... Plus it's here. Yeah, well, that wasn't on purpose. Oh well. Okay. Yeah, I guess no one figured it out. Guys, go figure it out. Oh, it's a trick now. If he got anything wrong, he gets to say it was on purpose. Oh, smart. It's my job to find it. Okay. Do we do one more? One more? Link, yes. I have not opened the code red because I feel like I can maybe make it. But I don't know, brothers. 100 more, no. I am curious about this RimWorld Gene Stealer cult, but no, you can't have my code red. One more.
Being blind, violently explode.
So this one is by Reggie, you know, the one and only Reggie. I created Gene Stealer cult in RimWorld. It was 2 years ago. I played RimWorld like one time.
Being blind, violently.
There you go. Audio looks good. Okay, this is the last video. I'm gonna pass out, guys. Hopefully not.
Being blind, violently exploding on contact with sunlight, and above all else, involuntarily vomiting copious amounts of rodents. Because today, we will be attempting to survive RimWorld with the worst possible genetics. Now I know you're thinking, how bad can that really be? I will answer that simply. Each of our colonists have a genetic complexity of 104 with absolutely no redeeming qualities. Can we survive, or will we be relegated to humanity's long list of genetic dead ends? Let's find out, but first, a word from our sponsor. World of Tanks is an immersive tank combat game available on PC. It's set in an alternate timeline where the concept of infantry was never invented, but that's okay because it's actually a lot of fun and also free to play. Don't know what tank to use? That's actually a very common problem because World of Tanks features a paralyzingly large selection of armored vehicles, including classics like the Panzer IV, but there's also a wide variety of tanks which were likely designed with the help of creativity supplements. Some of my favorites include the Duck, the Doom Turtle, and of course, Soft Richard. Who could be behind? Favorites include the Duck.
It's very nice. I like his shape.
The Doom Turtle.
Also very nice.
And of course, Soft Richard.
Soft Richard. Yes.
Who could be behind such experimental designs? Join millions of players in massive battles that unfold over a variety of environments and strategic objectives. Here's a video of me absolutely annihilating someone. Yeah, get him every time. Now this game is the real deal, because it's all real physics-based combat, where you have to learn the strong and weak points of each tank, customize your tank, dominate the battlefield, and most importantly, trick your friends into playing Italian tanks and then ram them off a cliff. Download World of Tanks using the link in the description and use code COMBAT to get 7 free days of premium along with 250,000 credits and all of this. Look at that. Thank you, World of Tanks. Now back to the video. I started us in a temperate forest. It had plenty of open space, natural resources, and overall a generally good vibe. But none of that actually mattered because the very second that our colonists physically existed, they immediately underwent a series of unplanned genetic mutations that resulted in R2 turning green, Cornford developing insect mandibles, and best of all, I manifested some kind of giant crab claw. This was mildly interesting for about 24 seconds because that's exactly how long it took us to collapse from full-body third-degree burns due to sun exposure. R2 and Cornford were phasing in and out of consciousness as a result of mind-shattering earth-shattering pain, and I had begun vigorously vomiting all over myself. Except instead of stomach contents, I was literally vomiting a stream of rodents because of the rat vomit gene. As I lie on the ground, writhing in the pain of having every cell in my body obliterated with UV radiation, I was powerless but to watch as the dozens of rodents, which I had just vomited, surrounded me and began passionately mating. Some even shamelessly
Wow, are you sure you weren't high?
enough to do so atop of my crippled carcass. This made me ask myself, has science gone too far? No, of course not. That's stupid. Let's try again. Attempt 2 went substantially better because this time I didn't mutate into a half-man, half-crustacean freak who would have to live in fear of being hunted down by a cabal of Chinese fishmongers. However, I did still have to live in fear of the sun melting off all of my skin in the next 30 seconds. So we tried to mine into the side of this mountain to escape. Unfortunately, it turns out we are not very good miners. It's probably because of the bad back, frail body, near blindness, and pig hands. As you may imagine, this resulted in us desperately clawing at the stone for about 15 seconds before the sun purged us from existence with acute radiation poisoning. For attempt 3, we tried to protect ourselves using sunglasses and straw hats. This was an improvement only in the sense that our corpses are now vaguely more stylish. Clearly, I may have overestimated my abilities on this one. It's time to make some concessions. I will exchange lethal UV exposure for being physically disfigured, and I will also exchange unstable mutations for nothing, because I'd like to return some small fraction of my sanity. You may think I've just gone ahead and made this challenge too easy. Well, I'd like to remind you that we still have a genetic complexity of 96, because we are blind, deaf, and depressed alcoholics who have to eat dirt and drink human blood to survive. We have an obsession with starting fires, a crippling fear of water, and we develop a new tumor every single day. So we're not exactly genetically privileged. Regardless, it was refreshing to load up the world and watch my settlers shamble out of their drop pods without immediately being atomized by an unfavorable UV index. Sure, the colonists...
Funeral opportunity. A funeral opportunity. I love this.
Were riddled with carcinoma from their major cell instability and teratogenesis, but if you rearrange the letters in carcinoma, you can very quickly spell macaroni. And being covered in macaroni hardly sounds like a medical emergency, so I just ignored it. We got to work setting up some living quarters and planting some crops. However, our colonists are so physically wretched that they're not really able to do anything effectively, and watching them try to work evokes the same feelings as watching a quadriplegic fall out of their wheelchair. Regardless, after several hours of me uncomfortably witnessing their labor...
Okay, there's a reason this guy has like 1 million followers. I cannot help but laugh. Like, I know very little about RimWorld, but this is he makes me laugh the way he phrases and writes all his stuff.
We had managed to construct something vaguely resembling a house, a third of a hallway, and some basic farms. But around day 4, we had run into an issue. The macaroni from earlier had become aggressively metastatic, and it had spread to several areas in Andri and Martinson's bodies, rendering them physically unable to move. I used my doctor to attempt to remove the tumors, but his chronic narcolepsy caused him to fall asleep in the middle of lung surgery. By the time he woke up, he too was unable to move because of his own rapidly expanding network of tumors. The RimWorld storyteller must have felt extremely awkward watching my colony fail this spectacularly because they sent me a man in black in an attempt to help us out. It was nice to have a colonist whose genetic code wasn't written in Comic Sans, but he had a lot of work to do. First order of business is surgery. I've decided that our colonists can't be trusted not to develop tumors in their arms and legs, so I'm just going to take their arms and legs. Don't worry though, we'll be replacing them with pieces of scrap wood I found lying around the base. I had Keisuke perform the first surgery on Martinson. It actually went pretty well, and we managed to replace his leg with a wooden peg, effectively removing his tumor in the process. Inspired by this performance, I moved on to replacing his right arm, which didn't go so well. Keisuke accidentally killed Martinson, which caused our pet zebra to go insane and kick him in the face, resulting in his immediate death. This is what we call a learning moment. And what have we learned? Anagrams are not a responsible substitute for medical treatment. Zebras should not be allowed in the operating room. And finally, if we're going to do this, we might have to play a little dirty. Here's the game plan.
I'm so tired of everything he says. It's funny. I mean, that could be possible. That could be possible. But, like, come on. The zebra kicked him in the face. What am I, like...
We suck. We're awful. Our bodies are factories that turn existence into suffering. But what if we could find a way to transfer our suffering to other people? Maybe then we wouldn't have to share the same life expectancy as the main character of a live leak video.
No.
Turns out it might be possible.
This sounds like Drukari.
By engaging in some genetic bartering, we were able to accept these beneficial genes at the cost of also accepting some negative ones. But it was worth it, because teratogenic touch gives us the magical ability to transfer all of our tumors to another person simply by touching them. Assuming we can find a willing recipient, this will help us fend off our cancer indefinitely. Finally, we have xenogenic siphon, which gives us the ability to steal a random gene from another human and incorporate it into our genome. Of course, this is totally safe and it does not harm the donor in any way. The plan is to steal enough beneficial genes to eventually evolve into something approximating a normal human being. Hopefully, this will help us survive. Let's begin. Looking at the map, we need to pick the optimal starting position. Our survival plan relies on stealing other people's genetics and gifting them stage 4 cancer. So first and foremost, we need people. But how will we get them? I'll tell you how. Econo Lodge. By establishing a fully functional motel with extremely low prices, we will be able to attract all sorts of drifters and vagabonds to visit our colony. Most of them will enjoy their stay and come back, but some of them will have a slightly more memorable experience. I chose this highway tile because it's positioned—
Actually, it won't be very memorable because they won't be remembering anything.
between 3 friendly settlements. We're using the hotel start, which gives us plenty of building materials in exchange for not having any self-defense items. But let's be honest, we weren't going to win that fight anyway. The first thing we had to do was get naked, because out of all of the negative traits we have, Naked Runner actually gives us a move speed bonus as long as we are totally nude. Following this, I laid out some basic blueprints for the motel, and my gang of naked construction workers began awkwardly scurrying around and erecting our establishment. After a few days, it was really shaping up, so I isolated Grayson in the research room, where he would spend the rest of his natural life attempting to understand microelectronics, even though he was blind, deaf, and probably illiterate. Once we finish that, we'll be able to build a comms console to invite dozens of people to visit us, but at this rate, that could take a while. So for the time being, I settled on a bulletin board to meet our advertising needs. The guest rooms were nearly finished, and my extremely competitive pricing of $0 managed to attract our first 2 visitors. This would make for a good soft launch of our franchise. Our guests wandered around the premises for a few hours and then fell asleep in a dark warehouse, which was actually very convenient, because each of our colonists had about 3 tumors, and I wanted to test out our ability to transfer them to other people. I wasn't sure if this qualified as violating the non-aggression pact, but I decided to just go for it. We snuck up on Vivian and managed to successfully give her 9 instances of carcinoma without
She took all their tumors. Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good. And like half of them are growing. It's so bad.
her even noticing. I almost felt bad, but then I realized she coincidentally shares the exact same xenotype as us, so she was kind of doomed from the start. I looked at the other visitor, and he actually had some pretty good genes. As much as I yearned for his genetic material, giving our first guest terminal cancer and outright murdering the second would probably have a negative impact on our Yelp rating, so I decided to leave him alone. Now unburdened by the weight of several life-threatening carcinomas, I set out to address our next issue, self-defense. At this point in our evolution, we're not capable of much. However, I think we can figure something out. One of our genes causes us to perpetually attract a horde of rats that follow us around. And as we've seen from the first attempt, the rats tend to reproduce very quickly. If we could find a way to train and weaponize these rodents, they could serve as an expendable guard force to protect our colony. The days were passing by without too much trouble. Grayson was researching, Otto was attempting to radicalize the local rat populace, and Kyle was using his social skill to attempt to entertain the guests. This boiled down to him, a hideous naked man, following them around while trying and failing to make small talk. Somehow, that experience was making them uncomfortable, so I aborted that portion of our hospitality package. By this point, Vivian was unable to move because she had mysteriously accumulated over 20 tumors in the 7 days that she had been staying here. However, that didn't stop her friend from leaving her behind, because apparently he had a great time and will be coming back. Vivian certainly won't, because not long after that, she died. Not from the 31 tumors, but because I literally forgot you have to feed human beings to keep them alive. I will accept some responsibility for this. In fact, Vivian's untimely demise made me begin—
Well, she didn't pay. You know, see, the beds are free, but you gotta pay for the food.
Closely examining my actions from a moral perspective. And overall, I was very satisfied. You see, when your genetic code looks like the prototype for Lou Gehrig's disease, you feel a certain indignance regarding your place in the world, but more specifically, I felt extremely bitter towards the healthy people. People whose bodies weren't actively trying to complete some kind of unauthorized suicide pact. It's all very unfair, and I yearn for genetic equity. So in a stunning example of art imitating
I love the reverse of that. That's incredible.
art, I decided to model my motel business after the gene stealer cults of Warhammer 40k.
Good plan,
We
I
would
like
slowly
it.
assimilate the local populace into our ranks, and once the time is right, we will strike out against the genetic upper class, wiping them off the face of the earth and achieving a truly just society.
love
And
this
we
great
already have our first
backstory.
collaborator, because we've just been attacked by a wild maniac. They probably took one look at our horribly emaciated colonists and thought we'd be an easy target, but little did they know we have been secretly cultivating an army of man-eating rats.
Uno
In
reverse.
reality, we only have 2 rats, but they distracted the raider just long enough for one of my colonists to sneak up and stab him in the kidney. It is now time to play the genetic lottery by violently extracting one of his genes. We got super immunity, which is pretty good,
Oh,
but
that
our
is good.
chromosome piracy clearly upset the raider because he initiated a hunger strike. He also stopped breathing and moving completely. Clearly, he's a very principled man when it comes to piracy, and I respect that, so I allowed him to continue his moral grandstanding at the bottom of this shallow grave. Following this, we constructed a firewall to protect the motel, had a few mental breakdowns, yo-yoed between hypothermia
me
and
too.
heat stroke, and finally we finished the week by rescuing a prostitute from a psychotic Yorkshire Terrier. Overall, a very good start, and the reputation of RimWorld Econolodge seemed to be spreading, because we received our next batch of visitors, 6 of them in fact, and some of them even paid for their rooms. Amazing.
Wow.
I decided
That's
that 1 in
nice.
6 visitors dying was an acceptable statistic to be associated with, so I had one of my colonists brandish a knife and sneak into a guest's room while they were asleep. We used our gene siphon to grab a random trait. We got low sleep, which might not seem great, but it actually overrides an even worse gene, so overall, it's an improvement. Slowly but steadily, we are building a ladder of corpses and climbing it straight to genetic supremacy. Honestly, I'm not sure what's worse, having your chromosomes ripped out of your body while you sleep, resulting in your immediate death, or actually living and having to stay at my motel for an entire week. Because as you stumble through the dark and narrow hallways in search of even the most basic form of recreation, you will find only 2 things. 1, a cataclysmic infestation of rats that permeate every orifice of the motel.
I would say that insta-death is, preferable.
And 2, you will find my hideous and naked colonists erratically darting around in the shadows, trying to get close enough to touch you so they can covertly bestow you with terminal
Yeah, that's definitely something I want. That's high on my list of things I desire.
cancer. Paradoxically, your only reprieve from this living hell is when the motel is attacked by homicidal maniacs, who, if you are lucky, will complete a mercy killing on you with the nearest blunt object. Unfortunately for you, my militant collection of rats is always ready to defend the base. Speaking of, we were attacked again, but this time we had about 7 trained rats which swarmed the raider and incapacitated them with an assortment of bites and scratches. Normally, I'd attempt to gene rip this guy, but he's a baseliner, which makes him stupid and boring, so instead we'll just arrest him for later use. Now, our deployment of the Rat Defense Force was technically a success, but the raider was able to kill about 4 of them, and that just seemed kind of wasteful.
Sorry,
so I
rats.
decided to open a restaurant attached to the top of the motel, which will be selling meals made exclusively from dead rats. Of course, our guests don't know that, but regardless, this is a nice way to make a little extra money. It was now day 20, and despite the best
Yikes,
efforts
that's
of our
so
chronically disabled
bad.
researcher, we were still
That's so bad. Welcome in, Raiders. I hope you had a good stream. We are watching this video about how he created a gene stealer cult in RimWorld. It's fantastic. I love it so far.
a long ways from understanding microelectronics, so I decided to host a little party, where I locked everyone in a room without food or water until they could properly articulate how semiconductors work. Normally, this is an effective way to produce 3 dead bodies, but in this case, it actually worked. After building the comms console, I began advertising RimWorld Econolodge to all nearby civilizations by inviting them for a free stay. This means more people, and more people means more genes, which will hopefully translate to less violent outbursts as a result of being genetically genetically depressed. We now had a semi-steady stream of visitors at our motel, and we slowly started picking them off for their delicious chromosomes. Some notable acquisitions included Fast Runner, Dead Calm, and Long Jump Legs. Needless to say, the cult is evolving. Just as things were starting to look up for us, I was notified there was a giant space battle taking place directly above my motel, and I should beware of stray plasma blasts and falling debris. Oh yeah, this is great. As if the 1 in 6 chance of being violently assassinated wasn't exciting enough, my guests can now edge themselves to the thought of a chunk of space debris flattening them at any given moment. All in all, we survived the bombardment, but the forest did not. As a man who built his entire motel out of drywall and asbestos, the size of this forest fire was mildly concerning. But we got lucky because some kid wanted to join the colony, and of course, I accepted. Originally, I was just going to murder him for his genes, but it turns out he's some kind of embryonic furry, so instead I just assigned him to menial labor, such as fighting forest fires, scrubbing blood out of the bed sheets, and of course digging fresh graves for our more indefinite visitors.
Cool.
By this point, most of our basic
him,
needs have been satisfied. We are slowly improving our genetics, the base is relatively safe, and we have an abundance of raw steel, which is the only source of nutrition my colonists will eat. The only missing component was hemogen. We need it, and surprisingly, the motel guests aren't open to the concept of sharing. That's where this bad boy comes in. A giant vat of goo that passively sucks the hemogen out of a human body and delivers it in a nice little sippy pouch for my colonists. The only issue was acquiring the advanced components to craft it. Fortunately, I was able to convince a random tribesperson to go explore the ancient danger, where he found everything we would need. His leg was blown off in the process, but we got the component, and that's all that matters. Alright, let's test this out. Josephine, I really hope you haven't become too accustomed to being alive, because you are going in the vat. This portion of your stay at Rimworld Econo Lodge is strictly non-negotiable. Around this point, I was starting to become worried about the state of our military. Raid difficulty was increasing faster than our population of rats, and my prediction was that soon we would all be dead. A sane individual would have tried to solve this problem by building auto turrets, but me, I wanted to double down on the rats. I decided to leverage our weak stomachs in combination with the rat vomit gene as a way of achieving rodent hyperinflation.
No, so he made them sick so they just keep puking more and more rats. No.
By feeding Kyle a strict diet of nothing but raw meat and beer, we could ensure a near perpetual state of vomiting, and as a result, an endless supply of rats. Before long, we had accumulated over 30. Normally, this would be difficult to manage, but we found a psi trainer in the ancient tomb, which helped Otto improve his animal stat such that he could kind of vaguely exercise some control over the Skaven clan that was now inhabiting our base. The next step in our plan to subvert the healthy people, unsurprisingly, involves a lot of explosives. We had accumulated a few drifters from random events, and naturally I put them to work in sweatshops producing industrial amounts of chem fuel. If anyone asks, this is strictly for the drop pods we are building and nothing else. Speaking of drop pods, they will be the key ingredient in manipulating the population. You see, we've been killing a few people, and our genes are improving. We even managed to steal this guy's entire racial identity.
And I was 2% African, so I am legally allowed to say the word nigger.
But slaughtering the innocent is not very good for PR, and eventually the nearby factions will realize Rimworld Econo Lodge has a homicide problem, and they'll stop sending us visitors. However, I would like to introduce the concept of bribery. By loading up a drop pod with beer and sending it to a faction HQ, we can manipulate them into liking us and sending us more visitors, which we will invariably massacre. What is a human life worth? About 28 beer, as it turns out. And when we have alcohol shortages, I can just mail them back the estate of the deceased visitors, and that works pretty good too. We can even slowly convince our natural enemies to like us by inundating them with obscene amounts of alcohol. Everyone is my friend, and my love language is acts of violence. At this point, we settled into a steady rhythm of abduct.
I love how he writes his jokes. I love these jokes.
People, mass-producing rats, and of course, entering fits of inconsolable sobbing. Over the next 25 days, our manipulation tactics allowed us to accumulate an impressive collection of genetics. The only thing that was really slowing us down was whenever it would rain, all of my colonists would become catatonic because of their crippling fear of water. Despite this, we were becoming something more than human, like Superman, if he was blind and psychotic. I found the key to this was exploiting the villages which had a higher chance of spawning villagers with custom xenotypes, because that means there's a chance of one of our visitors having genetics like this. Holy shit. People with genetics this good get the VIP pack, visitors having genetics like this.
And this is the part where I don't know anything. Oh, wow. Oh. Oh, okay, so there's some of these that I'm like, oh, that makes, wow. Some of these are Pretty good. Those are pretty good.
Holy shit. People with genetics this good get the VIP package, which is 3 weeks of solitary confinement interrupted only by periodic visits to the gene extractor. This whole experience was beginning to feel like a drug-induced expression of abstract art, and the problem with art is that sometimes it's not clear when it's complete. Are we ready now to overthrow humanity? Probably not. But Otto can run at 30 kilometers an hour, temporarily turn his skin to steel, and best of all, he can telepathically cause people to go insane. So I'm just gonna give it a shot. The game plan is simple. We have 5 things going for us.
Okay.
Lots of rats, weird genetic abominations, a surplus of jet fuel, and these 2 bad boys. I found these in the Ancient Danger from earlier. One of them will teleport us and 1,200 pounds of supplies anywhere on the map.
Whoa.
And after we teleport, we will activate the other one to instantly turn all animals on the map into manhunters. I don't know if we'll survive this, but it should be fun. I attempted to gather some weapons for the attack.
But he has a ton of rats. Oh, this is...
We should have a bunch left over from the dozens of people we killed, but I had a hard time finding anything. Originally, I thought I just accidentally sold them, but upon reviewing the footage, I realized my fucking weirdo colonists were literally eating the bolt-action rifles. Jesus Christ, get me out of here. Okay, so I just grabbed whatever I could find and set out. We activated the teleporter and chose this settlement. Why? Because I wanted to prove a point that no one is safe from the genetic uprising, even if they've isolated themselves on some piece of shit island 4,000 kilometers off the coast. We arrived, and so did our 65 rats and 1,000 pounds of explosive barrels. The battle was on, and the first casualty was my frame rate. Things quickly devolved into a gruesome melee. Our foes were technologically superior, but 65 rats is a pretty good equalizer. I had Otto harden his skin and take up a strategic position with the shotgun. He was, of course, still—
See, this is the question where do you fight one really large rat or like 100 smaller rats?
Blind, so the efficacy of this tactic was questionable at best. Kyle was fundamentally incapable of violence, so instead I had him activate the animal transmitter, which immediately turned about 25 different animals into bloodthirsty killing machines that were now headed straight for the base. Following this, I used his healing abilities to try to patch up our—
I thought it would change their rats, not the... Okay, got it.
soldiers, and when he was out of cooldowns, I ran him straight into the enemy to use his acidic detonation ability. That was the end of Kyle. Grayson used his genetic superpowers to summon a singular ostrich. That's actually all Grayson can do. He didn't get very lucky with the genes. Our rats were slowly gnawing their way through the heavy armor of our opponents, but the kill feed was starting to look like this, and our numerical advantage was quickly fading. As I was watching the melee unfold, someone snuck up on Grayson and shot him in the mouth. I retaliated by forcing them to become violently insane and attack their friends, which was fun to watch, but the writing was on the wall. We took down a few more soldiers before Otto was surrounded and incapacitated. If there was any silver lining to this, it's that he won't have to be a part of what happens next, because right on time, the cavalry had arrived. 9 man-eating muffalos, 10 clinically insane deer, and an assortment of other violent creatures washed upon the enemy base. It was carnage, men being eaten alive by raccoons, auto turrets mag-dumping on boom rats, and a herd of charging muffalo absolutely annihilating some dickhead with a sword. I personally witnessed this mega sloth absorb about 400 pounds of lead, and let me tell you, it was a sight to behold. But at the end of the day, it was man who was the apex predator. In the face of a defeat such as this, it's tempting to think our battle was all for naught, meaningless even, but that's wrong. Because on this day, 3 brave employees of RimWorld Econolodge stood up to their oppressors and shot a pressurized stream of acid directly into their eyes. And the energy of that exact moment can never be destroyed, because it will live on eternally in the hearts of the downtrodden. I want to thank this month's patrons for supporting the channel. Thank you for watching, and finally, thank you to World of Tanks. Download the game with the link in the description to receive 7 days premium access, 250,000 silver, and all of this.
That was enjoyable. I was not sure what to expect, especially since I know very little about RimWorld, but as a non-RimWorld player, that was funny, and I had a great time. Please go, I don't think am I subscribed? We're gonna subscribe, because that was great. I was so dumb in all the best ways. Yeah, eating guns, I wouldn't recommend doing that. That's, no, don't do that. See, I didn't even need the code red. I was laughing. I was awake. It wasn't even required. I was so good. I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't that. But I loved it. I loved every second of it. And everyone died. Yep. Yeah, that's how it is in situations such as this. So. Okay. I'm tired. I'm gonna go pass out. Maybe. No, that's not true. The first thing you need to know about playing RimWorld is build a table. I played it one time and that was not the first thing I built. I was told to build like, you know, a shelter. So we built a shelter. That's how a lot of his videos end, by the way. It's gold. I love it. I like it. Don't forget to wake up tomorrow. I will try to remember. I will do my very best. But here's what we're gonna do. So, stream Friday and Saturday, and that's it for the week. Sorry about that. But on Saturday, we are doing a D&D game. A Warhammer D&D game with Bricky. If you know Warhammer, you probably know about Bricky. My friend, Cha-Cha, your V-Mom, and her husband, Doctor, is running the game. So I think, you know what, Cha-Cha is still alive. So we'll raid into her as little PR for her. Yeah, why not? I'm too tired. I am too tired. So, actually, yeah, she's not on, she doesn't stream on YouTube anymore. So, just gonna be a Twitch raid. So, thank you guys for hanging out with me. Yeah, I will see you guys on Friday. Sorry for the weird schedule, but it's okay. Maybe I will get sleep between now and then, so, you know, it's not really a big deal, right? It's not that big of a deal. Anyways, the important thing I need you guys to know is to not skip leg day, okay? Huh? 1 second. Did she just end her stream? Hang on. Dude, she just ended her stream. Never mind. She literally just ended her stream. I was like searching. I was like, where is she? She's not appearing on my list. I'm like, huh? She just ended. Never mind. We're gonna raid in this other chick. I don't know what she's doing. They're chatting. They're hanging out. They're having a good time. I don't know. We're just gonna blind raid. I'll catch you guys later. Bye.